Fox News. At their convention in Chicago, Democratic delegates will have a roll call vote tonight for Vice President Kamala Harris, who's officially already the presidential nominee after a virtual vote earlier this month.
The Obamas will also be showing their support for Vice President tonight, with Michelle Obama and former President Barack Obama both giving speeches.
Fox Business's Madison Allworth at the DNC. Former President Obama praising President Biden for his decency and resilience, posting today that he's grateful to call him a friend after President Biden denied being angry at fellow Democrats during his speech last night. Harris will hold a rally in Milwaukee tonight, while former President Trump visits Howell, Michigan, outside Detroit.
When you talk to voters here on the ground in Howell, they tell you that they want the president to talk about crime, but connect it to the southern border, and they want to know what he's going to do about that.
Fox's Aisha Hasni.
He's trying to take advantage of the fact that Democrats are in Chicago. They're sort of partying, having a good time, celebrating, riding on the vibes, and he is hitting the battleground states hard, trying to talk about the issues.
At this hour, Trump running mate J.D. Vance is holding an event on crime and safety in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Pro-Palestinian protests expected to continue outside the DNC in Chicago while the U.S. keeps pushing for a Gaza ceasefire deal. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Egypt today. Most of the Columbia University students arrested or disciplined for taking part in campus protests will be able to return to school this fall.
The information comes from a Republican-led congressional committee investigating the school's response to anti-Semitism. New York City police were called to Columbia to remove a student encampment in April, and of the 40 students arrested, just 2 remain suspended. The rest can enroll in classes while waiting for disciplinary hearings, although about half of them are on probation.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure. Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The summer August break continues, especially right through Thursday. Then summer starts to make a comeback. But for this afternoon, sunny and nice 80. Tonight, clear skies 60. Wednesday, sunny 79. Wednesday night, clear skies 58. Thursday, sunny and 81. 90 plus Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, DRURY law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
The Diamond Shop, you find them in Clayton. And boy, when you walk in, you're going to say, I'm in the right place. This is what Annie's been talking about. I am very grateful for the Diamond Shop to be friends with us here in the Fry family and on the Annie Fry Show, because when we visit the Diamond Shop, you walk in and you're treated like family. You're going to get that same experience. You're going to get to know the amazing people there, this family-owned and operated business that has been in St. Louis, serving St. Louis since 1910. That's a long time, but they've been in Clayton for quite some time as well, serving folks just like you, generationally speaking. That's kind of one of the ways you know that it's a very successful business, is that people recommend it within their own private conversations and relationships. Go to the Diamond Shop. You can trust them. You'll be in great hands. That's my recommendation as well. For this month, 30% off all in-stock jewelry all month long. So go into the Diamond Shop, tell them Annie sent you, and save. You can find them online at thediamondshop.net.
Is your vehicle stopping like it should? Save with summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get the tools and parts you need for your next brake job with BrakeBest Select, Select Pro, and import direct brake pads and rotors now at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid, keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
I made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation. And I've been blessed a million times in return for the support of the American people. I've either been too young to be in the Senate because I wasn't 30 yet, and too old to stay as president.
That was Joe Biden, who spoke really early this morning. If you were dedicated enough to say, you know, I got to hear this. I got to hear what the president has to say, and you wanted to be a part of it, and so you stayed and stayed and stayed, and then he finally started speaking. It was really quite something. Raphael Warnock is running for king, I think. That's pretty much what I have determined from last night, that Raphael Warnock, this was his moment in the sun, and he was going to take it and enjoy it and make Joe Biden wait. But I'm also thinking, you know, Brad, you've been backstage before when things are going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, Raphael, you got to talk until we tell you to get off the stage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to keep going. You got to keep going because we're not ready yet.
Take him to church and then take him again. And then AOC came on and she did her thing. Gosh, you guys, this is a struggle for me because there's a whole list of sound that is in front of me right now that I, on any given day, never play for you because you don't want to hear it. I mean, that's kind of my assumption is that this, Mark Reardon tweeted something last night and I replied to it and I just said that this is in a 4-year span for someone like me, this is the hardest week to do my job because you're taking the fluff of everything that is what you're diametrically opposed to, and it's my responsibility to watch it. I should watch it. I should. I keep saying that to myself. You should do this, Andy. It's the right thing to do. But I don't want to, and I think this is very akin to what many of you all feel any day you tune into the news. You're like, it just makes me mad. I hear that from you all of the time. Annie, I like to listen to your show, but sometimes I got to turn off the news because it just makes me mad. And when it makes you mad over and over again, sure, you're going to turn on Y98 to just decompress a little bit and listen to some music. I get that. I understand that. And so I make a practice on this show. I try to bring in both sides. Of course, I'm conservative. Yes, that's the lean that this show has because that's who I am. And I'm not some sort of news reporter that's out there and I'm not required to give both sides of the story. I like to have both sides of the story. I like to have facts be part of what I bring to the table. And I can present facts, and then I give you my take on it. Some might say my spin on it, whatever. But I tweeted back at Mark Reardon last night that I feel like in our world that this week should involve hazard pay, because I am just I'm watching it and I'm going to grit my tooth, and then all of a sudden I realize I have a headache because my jaw pressure is, and I'm just like, these people, they don't live in the same reality that I do. And they would look at me and say, Andy, you don't live in the same reality that we do. And, it would be heard as a pejorative either way that it goes. That's how much of a choice election this is, where you're going to choose one side or the other. This is not a Venn diagram. These are just two circles. One over here, one over there. That's the choice that is ahead of us. And it's an important choice. Our YouTube poll for today is, are you watching the DNC convention? You've got three options. Yes, you're watching. No, but you're interested in highlights. Maybe from this show, maybe you're scrolling through Twitter and you're watching what people choose to serve up in your curated timeline on your social media of choice. Or no, you're not interested at all. Because, Brad, I'm looking here. I don't know if you needed to have therapy this morning, but I'm looking through all of these clips, and the first three are AOC, Hillary Clinton, and Kamala Harris. Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of rough.
I watched Hillary's speech. I don't know what percentage of it I watched, but by the time I got positioned in a place, I also take myself away from my family to do this at night. So it's even more frustrating. I think that's probably why it gets under my skin more, because I don't want to subject my kids to having to sit and watch this and sit and watch me get mad at it. I don't want them to have to deal with that. If they wanted to watch, if they came to me and they're like, what are you watching, Mom? Can I watch with you? The older two, I would say yes. The other ones, I'd be like, go watch Bluey.
Yeah.
It's the DNC week. Watch Bluey. Yeah. I'd probably turn them into I like the blue team. No. I don't want to constantly put this stuff in front of them. They're children. I am more adamant about protecting childhood at this point in my life as a parent than I ever have been before. I think it's taken my son, he's 14, he's in high school now. He'll be 15 before the year is over. And I realize that his childhood is almost gone. If 14 isn't, it's still a child, yes. But the boyish nature starts to slip away pretty rapidly at that age. And you just start to enter into being a very young man as opposed to an old boy. And I'm asking myself, as a parent, what's my responsibility in shielding them from the world, but also teaching them how to be who I want to raise them to be, who my husband and I passionately want to raise them to be in this world. You can't hide them from it, shield them from it, and then one day say good luck, and then kick them out the nest and hope that they can acclimate. You can't do that. You have to be able to have discussions with them. You have to be able to answer questions like, Mom, why are they having an abortion truck outside of a political convention, and what's a vasectomy? Good opportunity in my mind to explain the difference between abortion, which is the pill that they're handing out, and a vasectomy, which is birth control. Two very different things. Not equal. And oh, by the way, when the Affordable Care Act was passed, do you know that they included full coverage of tubal ligation surgery for women, which is a completely invasive surgery for women to keep them from having babies, but they didn't cover vasectomies for men? Why is that? You would think that the super pro-feminist side that pushed the Affordable Care Act upon everybody would put the onus on men to finally step up and take responsibility for their actions. And, you do the surgery this time. You do the hard physical, biological thing instead of women having to have a much more invasive surgery. Nope. They fully covered tubal ligations, and they do not in the bill fully cover vasectomies. Some states do. I think Illinois does. Your kid says, why? It's like we've got a food truck, we've got tacos, we've got cheeseburgers, and we've got abortions. When your kid sees that, it's a very interesting perspective to have, because when you got to explain it to a child, you can't blow smoke, because kids will be like, what are you talking about? I don't understand that. Why do they need to have, who needs, first of all, explain an abortion to a 10-year-old. Explain it to them. Make it make sense to them in terms that a 10-year-old can understand, and then sit and think about what you've explained out loud and determine whether or not you feel like you're the person who's in a position of power that could stop that from happening to another baby. Especially if that 10-year-old child has had little siblings in their life, who remembers what it was like when there was a baby inside of a tummy and everybody was happy about it. I mean, these are the tough conversations that, as a parent, you really have to determine, is this something I just shield from my children? And I just, listen, the world is puppies, sunshine and rainbows for you for right now. Hold on to that as long as you can. And then one day you realize, no, I think I have to explain this to them. I spoke at the Hope Clinic at Granite City and brought my son out. He was a wallflower at the event, but, abortion is a political term to people who have never stood in the shadow of a building where they perform the procedure. It's a political poker chip that you can play with and you can bet on and you can win on for sure. It's a good one to win on if politics is really what you're advocating for, and abortion is a helpful avenue to get to that victory. But when we were at the Hope Clinic and I was asked to speak there, I mean, in full disclosure, I was speaking to a crowd of, I don't know, maybe 50 people who are out there and crowded around. These are Bible-believing people who came out to pray and to be present and to, pray over this clinic and pray for the women who were there. Not just the babies, but pray for the women. And I'm speaking to this crowd of people. It's, we didn't overwhelm Granite City at all, but there was people. If you were driving down the street, you would have gone, hey, what's going on over there? But when I was speaking at that event and my son was there was no way I couldn't deliver every single word that I was going to speak in that moment and not be speaking directly to him. Because abortion is such an important example of how politics swoops in, steals the message away from reality, and then we're all left playing tug of war over here when the real issue is still lonely and hiding over there. And whoever wins tug of war over far, far away from the issue doesn't win a victory for the person who's sitting lonely and scared and helpless and hopeless. It doesn't. We fight over these issues and we don't actually win victories for the people who they're supposed to help on either side. And when I was talking at that clinic, my message to everybody who was standing out there, I think that there's, generally speaking, like, oh, Christians, you think you're better than everybody else. You're out there praying because you're so godly and everybody else is so terrible. That's a very, I don't say this to be mean, but that's a very ignorant position and perspective to take on Christianity. And unfortunately, sometimes that ignorance comes from within communities that call themselves Christian. They believe that themselves, and it's a completely false understanding of what the issue is. But the idea that anybody standing on the outside, whether they're praying or they're not praying, they could be completely agnostic and go, I don't think that what's going on in there is good. And I think that there are women in there that need help, and I'd like to help them. I'd like to provide them money or supplies or comfort or a hug or just my time. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with faith, but you'd like to be there for them because they're in that clinic because they've been made to believe that that's the only hope that they have, is that they can end their problem there. And someone sold them that idea. Then they walk out and then they feel more helpless and hopeless than they ever have before. And then who helps them? All of these issues can be taken care of and cultivated to actually help people. And there is no politician that ever needs to step in to solve that problem. That clinic in Granite City, the abortion mecca in Fairview Heights, those are sitting there in non-election years. Those are sitting there with women who are going there and seeking that place out for some sort of resolve that they are going to leave not finding. And if there is a vacancy in their heart and in maybe their soul when they leave, and it gets filled with anger, what ends up happening is political parties like the Democrat Party put an abortion truck outside the DNC to make sure that whatever motion you conjure when you see that, you just think, it doesn't matter what the issue is, the Democrats are on my side. All this to say, I don't know that the Republicans are solving the issue either. In my mind, the Republicans, if you're a Republican, I mean, you call yourself whatever you want. I don't care how you vote. Like I said, you can go help these people in non-election years. You can go help them when there's no ballot that's going to save folks. There's no Supreme Court ruling that's going to absolve folks. You can go participate in these things beforehand. And then maybe when ballots come back around and you see the DNC pull up this abortion truck, you go, that's the most disgusting, reprehensible thing I can think of. And more people collectively look at that and judge it instead of celebrate it and maybe even worship it. The Democrat Party, everything that I've seen so far from this convention, is a collective hate fest for what America was, has been, and could be under the alternative. I don't know that the alternative has all of the answers, but I know that the people who support the other side, or the people who are looking at Hamas sympathizing individuals on the left who celebrate abortions in the same fashion that you can get like a roadside sandwich. There's no joy there. There's no happiness there. There's endless helplessness and hopelessness there. And the more they push that joy thing in our face, the more I believe that they are searching for it more than they're providing it. Come vote and tell us what you're doing with this convention. I'm curious to see you folks out there. How much are you investing your own time? Are you just coming here for the highlights? Are you not interested at all? Maybe you're watching it. Caroline Leavitt is going to be with us. She is the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. She's going to be talking to us about what she has seen so far from the Democrats. And the question that I continue to ask is, what's the Republican solution? Tell me about the future. Because the past right now, the ticket over on the Democrat Party, that's 4 more years. We already know what they brought to the table. What are we going to get from a new, refreshed Donald Trump campaign should he win? Caroline Leavitt, when we come back. Don't go away.
It's good to be alive right about now.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
The Retirement Advisory Group is guiding you in that transition period. I think it's there's a lot of different points with which you can be in your retirement journey. You can be, in your 20s or your 30s, and someone's like, so are you saving for retirement? And you're like, what? And then you got to really try to catch up from wherever you started that process. Right now, I'm just in if I can stick it aside and save it, I'm going to, but I got to try to make ends meet too. When you are where you are right now, which is right on the doorstep of retirement, you've got a little bit different of a focus in front of you. And that's where you have Bob Kershaw and Tammy Kershaw and Thomas Helbig step in and help you comfortably make that transition. It's a very important time that you need to focus on making some right moves to protect yourself. And those right moves, you've got the experts at the Retirement Advisory Group. Schedule your personalized structured income plan discussion with the Retirement Advisory Group by calling 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
Outdoor Living Redefined, brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design, your trusted partner in crafting stunning decks, inviting screened rooms, and elegant porch overhangs. Imagine enjoying a crisp morning coffee on your beautifully designed deck, or hosting gatherings in a spacious screened room. Lakeside turns your vision into reality. Our skilled craftsmen use top-notch materials to create spaces that stand up to the elements and stand out in style. Elevate your lifestyle with Lakeside's outdoor living expertise. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today.
This is Chad with Clayman Real Estate, KLAMEN Group.com. Do you have a house that you need to sell, but you're not sure when you want your closing date to be? Maybe you're looking for a new house to buy and you're not sure when you can sell your current house. Maybe you're going to a senior living facility and not sure when you're going to be allowed in. We can provide a flexible closing date for you. If you need to close tomorrow or you need to close in 6 months, that's okay for us. Push it up or back, whatever's best for you. Clayman, KLAMEN Group.com. Call today for a flexible sale.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
97.1 FM Talk. You're here, and so are St. Louis's conservative thought leaders. St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk.
So sweet. Living in this big blue world.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I know I'll be L-L-K. When I see trouble come by.
And this November, we will come together and declare with one voice, as one people, we are moving forward. With optimism, hope, and faith, so guided by our love of country, knowing we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Let us fight for the ideals we hold dear, and let us always remember, when we fight, we win. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
I could do a whole show on how much gaslighting that 139-second clip is, and I'm really, really interested in how long it took the Democrats to do that, like, first grade cadence with the teacher when you decide it's time to go to the bathroom, so the teacher says one thing and the kids all say another. When we fight, we win. This is coming from the party that has been very, very, what's the appropriate way of saying, rear end hurt over rhetoric. When we fight, we win. Yeah. Let's talk to the counter to the DNC. We're excited to have Caroline Leavitt on the show with us, Trump 2024's national press secretary. Caroline, a pleasure to have you here. You probably, like me, are suffering through this week of watching all of these ridiculous lies from the DNC. What did you think so far of what you've seen from the Democrats?
Hey, Annie, it's so great to be with you. Thank you so much. I think day one of the DNC really looked like watching an alternative reality. I mean, the Democrats talking about how Kamala Harris has stood up for working families her entire career. The working families at home that are watching are currently suffering from the worst inflation crisis we've had in a generation, and not one mention of the word inflation at the DNC last night. Imagine that. In fact, the speakers mentioned Trump 130 more times more than crime, than inflation and border combined. So this was not a night focused on the issues that matter to voters at home. There was a lot of, again, complimenting Kamala Harris for her record. It's a dangerously liberal record, and it just shows the Democrats are very much out of touch with where the American people are.
Yes, I completely agree with that. We're speaking with Caroline Leavitt, the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. This remaking of Kamala Harris, she's gotten about a month's worth of rosy coverage trying to reinvent who she is. But she's been in the Oval Office, as she likes to brag about, the last person in the Oval Office with Joe Biden on all of the big decisions. Is this 4 more years of Joe Biden, or is it something different, maybe even worse?
It's 4 years of Joe Biden, but worse. Look, Kamala Harris, whether she wants to express it or not, is Joe Biden's co-pilot. She has 100% supported all of the policies that have been implemented over the last 4 years. She has repeatedly praised Bidenomics. She's on the record saying she's very proud of Bidenomics. Well, Bidenomics is ripping off working families, again, who are struggling to pay for their mortgages that have increased by 50%, struggling to pay for groceries and gasoline that have gone through the roof because of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's policies. Kamala Harris was named the border czar. She's trying to run from that title, but she can't. It's the truth. And she has overseen the worst border immigration crisis in our nation's history. And so she supported all Biden's policies, but then she will take it a step further. We've already seen her roll out some of her economic proposals, a communist plan to control prices, cap prices. Kamala Harris wants the government to tell grocery stores in Michigan how much they should price their pickle jars. I mean, it sounds absurd, but it's true. And Kamala Harris also yesterday expressed support for a 28% corporate tax rate. That is higher than communist China. It would be devastating to the Rust Belt, devastating to our manufacturing industry. All those jobs will kiss the United States goodbye and go overseas to find cheap foreign labor. Her plan would be an economic disaster, even worse than what we faced over the last 4 years.
The Trump 2024 National Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt, with us right now. It's very easy for people who are right-leaning, moderate to right conservatives to look at what the Democrats are offering and shake their heads and say it'd be a disaster. But a lot of people do want to know, what is Donald Trump going to do with 4 more years in the Oval Office, maybe differently than he did the first time or double down on what he did the first time? What would we have to look forward to in a Trump presidency?
Well, first of all, we'll have to look forward to what we experienced in his first term, which is $1.50 gasoline. Doesn't that sound nice? Which is 1.4% inflation. That's what the inflation rate was when President Trump left office and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took over. When he left office, we had a record low number of illegal border crossings. Our border was safe. It was secure. We didn't talk about the border. We didn't talk about inflation when President Trump was in office because they just weren't issues that the American people were facing. There was peace and stability in the Middle East. And that's what we'll have to look forward to, in addition to so many new policy proposals that President Trump has been thinking about now for the past 4 years, watching the destruction and the chaos that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have created. For instance, President Trump has a fantastic plan. It's on his website. I'd encourage your audience to look it up, to reduce the homelessness crisis in this country and to stop the fentanyl crisis. You know, you look at neighborhoods like Kensington and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where our fellow Americans are literally laying out in the streets, drugged out like lifeless zombies. President Trump has a real plan to clean up these streets, to get those people into immediate treatment centers and or with law enforcement, if that's necessary, if they're being a danger to themselves or to society. The Biden administration is currently ignoring that issue. They're giving a lot of money overseas while ignoring the problems here at home. President Trump's going to reprioritize Americans and put them first.
Yeah, Caroline, that is such an important issue to be talking about, this drug crisis, the fentanyl crisis that we're experiencing in America. I drive downtown St. Louis every day, just did it to come to the studios here today. And every single day I'm seeing people strung out on the streets and one of the main thoroughfares in downtown St. Louis. And, you know, here locally, we don't have an effort to actually enforce and prosecute crimes. And we see that repeated across the entire country. We're supposed to listen to the case be made that
that Kamala Harris is the law and order candidate, and then they just say that she simply served as the attorney general and a DA and so forth, and that's supposed to be evidence enough that she cares about law enforcement. Is that what her record shows in those times that she served in those offices?
Absolutely not. Kamala Harris' records proves that she is anti-police and she is weak on crime. Kamala Harris cheered on the defund the police movement. Kamala Harris called for redirecting resources away from law enforcement agencies across the country. That includes local law enforcement agencies, by the way, who are already strapped for cash and who don't have any help from the federal government under the Harris-Biden administration because they have tied their hands. I've spoken to so many local law enforcement officers while on the campaign trail with President Trump who have told me personally that they encounter illegal immigrants in their communities all the time, but they can't do anything about it. They call these folks into ICE. ICE never comes to pick them up because ICE is not empowered to do so, and they too are lacking the resources. So Kamala Harris wants to redirect resources away from these law enforcement agencies who are doing their best but already don't have enough help. Kamala Harris fundraised for violent rioters like the ones we saw in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Governor Tim Walz refused to also demand law and order, allowed his city to burn. And rather than punish those people for looting innocent businesses and killing innocent Americans, they let them out free, and then Kamala Harris fundraised for their bail. She supports eliminating cash bail. She supports sanctuary cities. She is anti-law enforcement. She is pro-criminal, pro-illegal immigrant. And I don't say that lightly. It's sad to say that about someone who's running to be president of the United States, but it's true, and her record proves it.
We're speaking with Caroline Leavitt. She's the Trump 2024 National Press Secretary. I'm not sure if you were able to see that conversation. I believe her name was Monet. We played some of her sound yesterday with her interview with Lawrence Jones on Fox and Friends. And it was devastating. I have 4 kids myself, and listening to her talk about losing a child, I think she was from Chicago, and just like how hopeless it is in these neighborhoods where the same people come around and ask for the vote predictably at election time, and then they don't get anything out of them. Donald Trump replied on True Social, and he was talking about doing something for these people. Now, I remind you, we're in St. Louis, and we're in a red state here, but this is a very blue city, and there are people who are forgotten here, who are just left to be in these crime-ridden places run by Democrats, and it is incredibly hopeless. What does a Trump presidency have for those people?
Well, we understand that Americans feel hopeless in their own communities. President Trump understands that, and that's why he's running again. Look, this is a man who doesn't have to be doing this, by the way. He's been persecuted more than any candidate in history. They are literally trying to take away his freedom, imprisoning him. They have tried to take away his life. He just survived an assassination attempt. He doesn't have to be in this political arena, but it's for the people that you just described that he is in the political arena. He loves the forgotten men and women of this country who feel forgotten again by the political class, by the Biden-Harris administration. And President Trump is once again going to put their voices at the forefront. He is going to stop this lunacy of putting illegal immigrants ahead of American citizens. You know, we have minority communities in this country who are struggling to get by, moms who have to take second jobs just to afford baby formula and diapers, and again, can't afford the mortgages on their homes, but they're watching in their own cities as illegal immigrants are given free housing, are given stipends, prepaid debit cards for food, are taking up the children in these communities, their school gymnasiums, to sleep on the floor. I mean, what kind of country are we living in? President Trump is going to put the American people first. He's going to start doing that by ending the Biden-Harris border invasion on day one and launching the largest mass deportation operation in American history. He's also going to bring down the cost of living in this country, cut taxes. You know his new proposal to end taxes on tips for service workers. He wants to put more money back into the pockets of Americans. That's how we're going to empower our fellow citizens, reignite our economy, and also improve our national security. The world is laughing at us right now because they see that we have leaders who don't care about their own citizens. President Trump's going to ensure that ends very quickly and put America first again.
Caroline Leavitt, I got one last question for you, and it goes to what you were just speaking about right now, about how Donald Trump doesn't need to do this. I watched as much of last night's speeches as I could muster, and a repeat theme specifically from Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden himself. They all say that all Donald Trump is doing is something for Donald Trump, that this is all about him. He doesn't love his country. He loves himself, and he is self-serving, and that's why he wants 4 more years. I assume that you know him a little more personally than the rest of us do, and I'd be curious about your personal anecdotal thoughts on when you hear the Democrats try to paint him as a self-serving individual who's doing all of this to serve himself in the end.
It's couldn't be further from the truth. President Trump was one of the most rich and famous, powerful men in the country before choosing to step into the political arena. He didn't do it for money. He didn't do it for fame. He had all of that. He does not need to be doing this. He's doing it because he truly loves this country so much. And I see that every day working for him. I've seen it when he takes time out of his busy schedule to pick up the phone and to call the mothers and the fathers of grieving mothers and fathers who have lost their children at the hands of illegal immigrants in this country, when he cancels political meetings to take lunch with these mothers who ask to sit down with him. I've seen him do that when he consoles Gold Star families and has a 4.5-hour-long dinner with Gold Star families when he was only scheduled for a couple of hours. This is a man who truly cares about the people, and that's why he's doing it. Believe me, I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been to his country club in Bedminster. They are beautiful places. He could be out there golfing every day, enjoying the life that he's worked very hard to build for himself and his family, but he's giving all that up and risking it all. I mean, they have come after his business. They've come after his children, his wife. The attacks are endless on this man, but every time he's attacked, he punches back 10 times harder, and it's truly inspiring to witness firsthand. And that's why I think he deserves the votes of the American public. He's not beholden to anyone else but the people, and that's why he's running.
He needs to keep telling that message about what happens in the future with a Trump presidency once again, because it is such a positive message, and people need to hear it. And we appreciate you sharing it with us here on our show today. Caroline, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Annie. Take care.
Yep, you as well. The Trump 2024 National Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Great to have her on the show. DonaldJTrump.com. If you want to check out more about what she's discussing, if any of this sounds new to you, or you want to check her notes or check my notes, whatever, DonaldJTrump.com. We're going to take a quick break. Wiggins America, when we come back, it's going to update us old people on Gen Z trends. And I think that the question that I saw in the chat that we have going is like, are you following any of these Gen Z trends? I pretty much can probably say no, but we'll verify, trust but verify with Wiggins America when we come back. Don't go away.
The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Stewart's American Mortgage is looking out for you. And you're like, Annie, why is a mortgage lender looking out for you? Well, listen, Stewie understands how to help your financial situation. If you're buying a home and you're going to get yourself one of those mortgages, most of us need to get a mortgage when we buy a home. You need the best circumstance laid out for you when you acquire that mortgage. And it starts with a phone call or a text message to Stewie. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. That's how you get a hold of him directly. You need the person who can hook you up with the bagel loan. And again, that's only at Stewart's American Mortgage. You've heard about the bagel loan. Let me remind you why he calls it the bagel loan. It's kind of a weird name for a mortgage, don't you think? Well, he wants you to remember that the bagel that looks like a zero reminds you pay zero in closing costs. And it's not a gimmick. It's not a trick. They don't get tucked in and you pay them over time or anything. You don't pay them.
He takes care of all of that for you. If you're interested, give him a call, 314-324-4440, and ask Stewie about the bagel loan. You can Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200 and always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original Overhead Door, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom.
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
Oh, I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
The YouTube live chat poll today. Sorry, Annie, I got to do radio real quick here. We're talking about some other things.
I have important things to discuss.
No, you do not.
We can talk about it in the 2 o'clock hour.
Let's talk about it in just a minute.
No.
Yeah, let's put you on the spot. YouTube live chat poll of the day. Are you watching the DNC, the convention that is happening now? Yes or no, but I'm interested in the highlights, or no, not interested at all.
The T-shirt game on this show today, other than me, is rocking.
Well, it's so me and Brad.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
1246. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The Focus Marines Foundation is here to help veterans transition from service to civilian life, and we're here to support them. This is Mark Cox inviting you to get involved in this month's Conservatives Care effort by visiting 971talk.com.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
I like songs that start by introducing the concept of what the vernacular they're using and then
like
defining it.
Every good junior high paper.
Yeah.
The definition.
Yeah.
A scrub is a guy
who can't get no love. Also known as a busta.
Who thinks he's fly.
Oh, yeah, that too. So just in case you were introduced to this song recently, I want to define some parameters for you.
Was there ever a time in your life where one might have considered you to be a scrub?
Come on. You think that
Including right now.
You think I would hang out the side of a limo trying to get some attention from females?
Hanging out the side of your best friend's ride?
Yes, I do.
Trying to holler at her?
You've literally said there was no woman that you thought was out of your reach in high school.
No, but that means that I wasn't trying to get their attention. I was assuming that they were paying attention to me already. You know that's true. I thought I was a big man on campus.
He placed himself directly in the center of that universe.
G-Wib says that Wiggins is pretty fly for a white guy, so maybe there are multiple applications here.
Thank you, G-Wibs. Thank you to all of you who are commenting about how I'm right all the time.
Friday's poll, has Brian Wiggins ever been a scrub? And if that's the poll, you know I ran out of ideas.
But you have to define a scrub in the poll. You know, it has to be...
It's a guy who thinks he's fly.
Guy who thinks he's fly,
He's
also known as a busta. Yeah, is Wiggins...
Always thinking about what he wants. This is you. You were a scrub. But like a lovable one.
Yeah, I'm not a scrub. I'm not a scrub. Nobody wants no scrubs. Therefore, I'm not one. Because if people wanted scrubs, maybe I would become one.
That's like an F in geometry proofs.
This is Wiggins America, not whatever we're doing right now.
The Annie Fry Show?
Yeah. And this is Gen Z trends that I have been looking up because I am hip and I follow these things. No.
Total scrub. Total scrub.
Going to see if you've been doing any things or if you've even heard of them.
I'm going to create a PowerPoint why you were a scrub.
Please do not.
I'm going to do it right now.
Because that would be embarrassing for me as a person who does not like attention. The first one is Gen Z's latest weight loss hack called tadpole water.
Oh, gosh. No.
Sounds good already, doesn't it?
Wait, are we supposed to respond?
You're supposed to respond whether you've either heard of this, whether you would like to do it, or whether you have done it.
It's not like, is this something you're doing? We're just trying to find out if we've ever heard of it.
Possibly. Yeah, there's several options here,
This is a
several
no.
tiers you can come in on. The first is tadpole water, armed with a bottle of warm water, a couple of tablespoons of chia seeds, and a squeeze of fresh lemon. Gen Z is out to lose weight. And they say that it actually does work because chia seeds.
Can you tell me that recipe one more time?
Yeah, chia seeds, hot water, and fresh lemon. I'm not
Does
really
this
sure.
make you barf?
I think what it does is it's just water, so it's not adding any calories. Chia seeds do the same thing, and apparently chia seeds are really healthy for you because they clean you out. And so people are eating them because they make you feel full.
So it's X-Lax.
They clean you out. And
Will you try this?
no, it sounds terrible. If it sounded delicious and it helped you, I would do it.
You know what? Hot lemon water?
Hot lemon water is basically tea.
Is it?
Sure.
Hot lemon water sounds gross to me. Tea has a taste. Lemon is just lemon and water. But I guess you guys
lemonade
have not. Yeah,
It's
well,
terrible.
if you have you have to add sugar to have lemonade, and this has none
Sugar
of that.
water.
Tadpole water because it looks like tadpoles
Needs
in the
sugar.
water with these chia seeds. Something you'd be interested in?
Sugar. No.
Okay, next one. Gen Z workers think being 5 to 10 minutes late is on time.
Yeah, I bet they do.
According to a survey, almost half of Gen Zers between 16 and 26, roughly is the age group there, believe that being between 5 and 10 minutes late is the same as being on time.
It's obnoxious.
I agree. And I sometimes am the person who does push this. I don't really ever get anywhere early. I get places like right on time or within 5 minutes.
I always try to get places 15 to 20 minutes early and sit in the parking lot until it's appropriate to go inside.
Wow, that's a lot of planning. I like to not use if it involves using somebody else's time, I will be much more thoughtful about it. But if it's just my own time,
Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke rear.
don't be crass.
His broke assets.
Next one. Is Generation Z done with Disney? Annie, Brad, the demographics of Disney's D23 fan conference put a spotlight on a question that has been simmering on message boards and social media videos everywhere. Is Gen Z simply less excited about Disney products than previous generations?
Well, yeah, because Disney frickin' sucks and doesn't put out good stuff.
Not putting out anything interesting these days.
The golden years of Disney are supposed to be the 90s.
Oh, really?
Like that is the like Disney Renaissance. And the movies that bring people back into Disney, the nostalgia. I mean, it's like when you start seeing Etch-a-Sketches as like the key Christmas gift. The people who are buying gifts played with Etch-a-Sketches when they're kids, which is why they buy the gift, because they're like, oh, I love this 30 years ago. You're going to love it now. And then the kid's like, I like an iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the nostalgia that exists for millennials specifically, because we grew up with things like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and Toy
Little
Story
Mermaid.
and the original Cars and Little Mermaid and all of those. It's gone because Disney's completely lost its way, and they don't make good movies anymore. And the best you get is a good sequel.
Well, The Acolyte was pretty good, right, Brad?
It's canceled.
No. No.
It got canceled, which is hilarious. Everything I know about The Acolyte, I know from Twitter and the show, which
Me
is
too.
about 3 sentences.
Yeah, me too. Like
I know that there were
the witches conjuring up.
lesbians
Yes.
making lesbian spirit babies or
Yes.
something.
Yeah. What are they called? Mitochondrians?
Midichlorians.
Midichlorians.
Nerd. You know that? Good
Yes.
grief.
Yeah, well, Ryan and I had a whole conversation about this.
You shouldn't have admitted any of that.
That's
you should
all
have
right.
just lied and been like, why would I know that?
People know I like Star Wars.
Yeah, but I thought you had standards.
What's worse, being a scrub or a nerd?
What's worse?
Yeah.
Being a scrub.
Oh, no.
Everybody's a nerd about something. You just got to find your nerds.
We talked about this too, and I was almost going to save it for an Ask Me Anything on Friday, but it's a good question. Is there anything that you are looking forward to the release? Like, is there anything that you're a big fan of right now? Brad and I couldn't come up with anything that we're looking forward to the release of a new band's record or movie or TV show. There's nothing in the media landscape that I'm like, oh yeah, big fan of that. Is there anything for you?
No.
Mm-mm.
Me either. And Marvel is not that long ago. I mean, there were some pretty good franchises, but I was never that into them.
The big movies that Disney is coming out with right now are all sequels. Moana 2, Inside Out 2 just came out. We went and saw that. That was good. I thought it was a good movie. They've announced Frozen 3 and 4, which is like a 2-part sequel, whatever.
Didn't know that.
But, I mean, I can wait till it's out on streaming to watch with my kids. And if my kids don't want to watch it, I'm not going to see it.
Bit of a diversion here, but whatever happened to the live-action Snow White?
Oh, it's still happening.
Is it?
Yeah, they CGI'd in Little People or something.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, they've outwoked their woke
Themselves.
problem.
Yeah.
And they're so contorted in it. And there's like a bunch of little people who are like, "Can I please play a dwarf?"
Yeah, right. Wouldn't you
Like,
be
I
like,
really
come on,
wanna
just give
do
me the
this.
part?
I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah.
It's a very particular set of
Yeah.
skills, and you're like, maybe we'll make them CGI.
Yeah.
What?
You're doing a live-action remake of Snow White? You're not casting me?
Yeah. It's like
Are you kidding?
It's your big opportunity to shine, and there's 7 opportunities.
Yeah. This is the best thing that's going to
There's
happen.
7
Oh,
of 'em.
no, Disney's doing it. This is terrible.
And you would think of all the things that would star a white person in a Disney movie, it would be the woman whose skin was white as snow, but no. Can we get a Latina in here?
Right.
It's the closest to white
They're
we'll go.
going, man, I hope Daily Wire buys Snow White.
They did make a Snow White.
They did.
No.
Yes, Brett
Yeah.
Cooper
Oh,
made
yeah.
My gosh, this world that we're living in. The last
Ryan
one.
has the best ideas about 2 years after everybody else does.
Hey, Gen Z is big on buying stuff for their dogs' birthdays. Just wanted to throw that out there.
This is where I get in trouble. I can't comment on this because there are people listening that do these things, and I'm not one of them.
Gen Z, everybody does it.
To each their own.
But Gen Z is the biggest group
Everybody does
on
what?
doing it. Buying dogs their birthday presents.
Everybody does not.
Well, every age group has a lot of people that do this.
Like
but
a
Gen
representative?
Z, yes. Gen Z is the biggest. What are the biggest things that they are buying? Premium dog food and treats, clothes, and luxury grooming services. And there you go. This song is stupid.
Don't be offended. Is it you taking it personally?
Now I am, because I'm not a scrub, but you said I was.
Let's talk to Jim Carafano and Andy McCarthy next.
Did you know you can unlock the equity from your current home and stay in it while you find your next home or while your new home's being built? Mark Cox here for my friend Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis real estate expert. She can do that for you. Here's a problem many home sellers find themselves in. I want to sell my home, but where will I move? Plus, I need the funds from my current home to go purchase our next home. Gloria understands this. That's why she created her Sell and Stay program, which allows you to sell your home, get the cash, and stay in the home for up to 12 months. I love Gloria Liu because she thinks of every dilemma a home seller could go through and provides a guaranteed solution. If you need the cash from your current home to buy your next home, here's my recommendation. Call the only agent I trust, Gloria Liu, and ask her about her Sell and Stay program, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Michael's Flooring Outlet is online at IGotFloored.com. Love the people at Michael's Flooring Outlet. This family is wonderful, and they've been providing a great experience for customers just like you, looking for flooring in the St. Louis area for like 30 years. That's a good track record.
They do that by providing you with options. And when you go onto the website at igotfloored.com, you're going to be able to walk through a lot of those options right there. You can also request your estimate straight from igotfloored.com. You can look at the Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line of carpet. I love carpet. I will absolutely be putting carpet in my next home to make sure that it is nice and comfy and cozy. I love it. And I'm going to want good quality carpet as well. That Smart Strand Mohawk Silk line might be the one with silky softness and superior performance. It does the trick, and Michael's Flooring Outlet can connect you with all of the trappings you need to make sure you have the best carpet experience shopping at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've got 3 locations in St. Louis. They're online at igotfloored.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
He's back in Michigan. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Trump just arriving in Detroit for a campaign event in nearby Howell as running mate J.D. Vance talks about crime and punishment in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
I want every single child in this country, whether they're rich or poor, whether they grow up on the right side of the tracks or the wrong side of the tracks, every child deserves to have public safety, and that's what we're going to do when Donald J. Trump is president.
There were riots in Kenosha after a deadly police shooting in 2020. The Vance news conference there just hours before Vice President Kamala Harris also visits Wisconsin to hold a rally in Milwaukee, a side trip from the Democratic Convention in Chicago, where former President Obama will speak tonight. Harris running mate Tim Walz making a surprise visit to a women's caucus meeting.
It's well past time to put a woman in the White House.
And he says Harris would be a leader of vision and decency.
You go with us, we're going to be there for your family. You go with us, we'll help your kids get fed. You go with us, we'll get you an education. You go with us, we'll leave you alone to make your own decisions.
But his remarks were interrupted by a handful of pro-Palestinian demonstrators chanting, "Stop killing women in Gaza." The U.S. still pushing for a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage deal. Secretary of State Blinken in Egypt today after announcing Israeli support for a plan to bridge gaps. But Hamas has so far rejected the new proposal, claiming changes were made. The U.S. and Ukrainian defense chiefs speaking today as Ukraine continues an incursion into Russia.
President Volodymyr Zelensky admits the situation in eastern Ukraine is difficult. Russian forces are growing in number and moving towards Pokrovsk, a city from where thousands have been evacuated. President Zelensky, though, claims his troops control nearly 500 square miles of Russian land in the Kursk region.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure. Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family, together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The summer August break continues, especially right through Thursday. Then summer starts to make a comeback. But for this afternoon, sunny and nice 80. Tonight, clear skies 60. Wednesday, sunny 79. Wednesday night, clear skies 58. Thursday, sunny and 81. 90 plus Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
One of the most fun nights of the summer is right around the corner, August 30th and 31st. That's Labor Day weekend. It's the Friday and Saturday of Labor Day weekend. You need to go to Midwest WingFest. You can go online to MidwestWingFest.com. This event is so fun for everybody in the family. You need tickets for 12 and over. It's just $5 a ticket, and it is a wonderful way that benefits combat wounded soldiers and the families of local fallen heroes. So when you go have a great time over Labor Day weekend at Fairview Heights St. Clair Square parking lot by Dillard's at Midwest WingFest, you're helping local people who have been combat wounded. It's such an easy way to make a difference and have a great time at the same time. You can come out to Midwest WingFest in Fairview Heights, all kinds of food, delicious wings, barbecue, plenty of drinks, amazing live music, and a massive area for the kids to play, plus a huge military and first responder area where kiddos get to meet local heroes and more. Get your tickets at MidwestWingFest.com.
It is so hot. I mean, it's expected here at times, especially this time of year in St. Louis. But man, and when it gets this hot, I've heard the egg farmers are having a serious problem. That's just what I heard. Again, it might be true, it might not. It sounds like it probably is true that the chicken farmers are having trouble having the eggs because it's so hot. When the chickens lay the egg, it becomes a baby chick. That's hot. So I can only imagine what it is in your house. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've been in your houses when your air conditioner is not working or when it breaks. So if yours is broken or it's not cooling really good, call me, Bart Inman. One easy number, Missouri and Illinois, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or on the internet, bartinman.com. Now that is a Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone? Listen to 97.1 on the Odyssey app and click the microphone to leave a voice message. Whatever's on your mind, let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Kamala and I are committed to strengthening legal immigration.
So I think he meant to say legal immigration there, but last night Joe Biden was really honestly singing mostly Joe Biden's praises for the last 4 years that he was in office and 50 years that he's been in D.C. And we're supposed to look at what Kamala Harris is going to bring to the Oval Office, even though she's been there and brags about being the last person in the room for most major decisions. We're supposed to be looking at the border like now that Kamala's in charge, things are going to be different. Well, I've got a tweet here, and it's from Chad Wolf, and Chad Wolf knows a bit about the border. He's the former DHS acting secretary, and the first thing that he highlights from the Kamala Harris plan should she become the president, is that her plan is to provide a pathway to citizenship for more than 15 million illegal aliens, including aliens who were previously deported during the Trump administration. What happens next? Can we possibly fix this problem? Let's ask our friend Jim Carafano, who joins us once again. He's a senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, welcome back to the show. Always good to speak with you.
All I have to say is that if gaslighting contributed to global warming, we'd all be fried eggs by now.
Good point. I mean, I have to remind myself all the time that when we look at what the other side is doing that disagrees with ourselves, that you have to remember they're not trying to solve the same problems that we are, which is why their solutions don't look like solutions. What's the problem that the Harris ticket here is looking to solve on our southern border, and what isn't it?
Yeah, well, so number one is, and we should be clear about this, and Chad is exactly right, their solution to America's border and immigration policy starts with mass amnesty, not securing the border, not dealing with the cartels, not deporting people, not enforcing the law. It starts with the mass amnesty. Here's the second thing that we know. Even when we suggest mass amnesty in the United States, illegal immigration increases. So this idea is that we clear the decks, right, and then we can secure the border. This is nonsense. It's not just nonsense in the United States. Every country in the world that has implemented a mass amnesty campaign to deal with illegal immigration winds up with more illegal immigration after than it started. So, one, that's the plan. Two, absolutely 1,000%, 1 million guarantee that the plan won't work. We even tried it in the United States when Ronald Reagan was president. The illegal population tripled after he declared amnesty and promised to secure the border and deport illegal aliens. But here's the third thing. This is so not a new idea. Reagan tried it and failed, which is why nobody talked about it for like 20 years. Bush tried it after 9/11. Obama tried it. And so we've actually had in the last 20 years, mass amnesty proposed by Republican presidents with Republican Congresses, Republican presidents with Democratic Congresses, Democratic presidents with Democratic congressmen, and Democratic presidents with Republican Congresses. So in every possible political combination in the last 20 years, it's always been rejected. There is no mass political support for mass amnesty. So the odds that a future administration could do this are zero. So that is, if there's a definition of gaslighting, it's basically saying I have a problem, I have a solution to deal with this problem, when we factually know, one, their answer won't work, and two, implementing it would be almost impossible.
Jim Carafano with us right now on the Andy Fry Show. I feel like the problem that we consistently see on the left with the people who are in power right now, the problem is always a political problem, and the solution is always an immediate solution to the current political problem, and then whatever happens after that, we'll get to it when we get to it, which makes the entire apparatus seem like it's in complete disarray. Foreign or national, it seems like everything is a mess, and if every time we watch them turn around, they have a different policy position, it's hard to reconcile that they're both coming from the same place. And it's a little scary to think that if they were to win this next election, that this is the way they could continue on making policy just by the political wins and the shifts of those wins.
Look, I say this not as a partisan voice, because I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'm sorry, I've said that so many times in your show, but there's a clear distinction between Democratic, liberal and conservative policy. Liberal policy is the best things for America is if I am in power. And therefore the best policies are the ones that keep me in power. Period. Mic drop. End of statement. That's why we are where we are. Conservative policies are exactly opposite. It is my job is to figure out what Americans really want and deliver it to them. Period. Mic drop. End of statement. It's exactly opposite. One wants power because they believe they are the most qualified to rule. The other wants power because they believe the people are the most qualified to make decisions on how they want to live their lives. If that sounds partisan or cruel to you, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And policies, just like you described, are illustrative to that. It's, how could Harris, for example, oppose the childhood tax credit and then now want to give a bigger childhood tax credit than Republicans, because they think they're enunciating a policy that will help them keep political power.
Speaking with Jim Carafano, I've been watching bits and pieces a lot through my X feed, watched some of the speeches last night at the Democrat convention in Chicago. And I bet you've seen some of the protests that are taking place outside of the convention. And you've also read about the policies that are being advocated for inside of the convention. And, when you hear people in the streets really actually vocally supporting Hamas and championing October 7th. I mean, I've heard it from their own mouths and on videos. But then you hear the trying to split hairs inside the convention. I'm wondering which one you think is more dangerous to our future. What's going on outside the convention or what's going on inside?
Well, both. And I say this as this comes from my heart and it's genuine concern. If you were asking me today what really worries me for the future, what would I pray to God about to fix more than anything else? It's not nuclear war. It's not World War III. It's not Ukraine or China or even the debt or woke or anything. It's that we only have two political parties in this country, major political parties. That's not going to change. One of them is tolerant of anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. And I think that is poison in the bloodstream of America. There's a reason why the left, when Trump was running for president and when he was president, and even now, keep attacking him as a white supremacist and as anti-Semitic. Right? These are common tropes that they always, and there's a reason for that. Not because they're true, because they're not, but because they're things that are fundamentally hateful to Americans. That symptoms of the most corrupt fascist regimes in humanity. To be anti-Semitic is like the worst thing you can imagine. And yet we have a political party that is going out of its way to be tolerant of people who clearly hate Jews and clearly want to destroy Israel. So the same people that have bought billions of dollars to save Ukraine want to turn around and do everything they possibly can to destroy another free country. How is that even rational?
What is that sentiment allowed to foment on stateside, in our neighborhoods here in this country? What has that gotten us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how to put this. It's kind of like what's the real kind of thing that breaks the dam, for example, on sexual morality in the United States, and it has to be pedophilia, right? I mean, so this is the equivalent, the moral equivalent to that. Basically saying Jew hating is okay. It is crossing a line that makes anything permissible. And for people who think that are marching for this stuff in the street, the people that embrace the philosophy of Jew hate, which they're not tolerant of LGBTQ. They're not tolerant of women's rights. So you are literally championing the people who would be the first to take every liberty that you enjoy away from you.
Yeah.
This is really, really bad. I mean, I cannot tell you how really bad this is. And look, I'm not denying that there aren't anti-Semitic fanatics, all over the country. But when a major political party has to find space for that, I mean, like I said, there's a reason why the left attacked Republicans on this issue. I got to be honest. I mean, conservatives haven't always been vocal on dealing with anti-Semitism or anti-Zionism, which is, the destruction of Israel. And the reason why is we argue about the things we disagree on.
Yeah.
Right? We argue about things that other people get wrong. If you're doing something, we don't care, right? If you're doing something right, then we don't talk about that. So we don't talk about what we agree with liberals on. Nuts, right? And so we've been too quiet too long on this issue, not because we're sympathetic. I mean, look at every person who put a conservative label on their nameplate, who then becomes a declared anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist. Look at how quickly, I'm not going to name names, but look at how quickly they've been marginalized and discarded by the conservative movement.
Yeah, amen to that.
You know, right, and I'm not going to name names, but right. Our movement, though, is we haven't stood up, not because we're tolerant of anti-Semitism. It's because we just never thought it was a serious problem. It's just like conservatives speaking out against, pedophilia. It's not that we don't think that that's an abhorrent crime beyond all measure. It's just that who is saying that it's okay, right?
The questions have such obvious answers. You don't realize you have to speak them out loud for people to hear because you assume that they are understood. You know, Jim, I want to ask you one last question before we let you go, because I feel like this is all swirling around the question that everybody has got lingering in the back of their mind, and that's about being safe in our own country. And with the anger and the hate that is taking place, I mean, there are people chanting outside the Democrat convention saying they are going to bring the war home and talking about bringing the war here to our country. And you've been saying for a long time that another 9/11 is imminent almost. You still feel that way? What do you want Americans to understand about this moment?
No, I think that's, and it's the same thing with hate. You know, we have got all this thing. Well, we need hate crimes. We have to protect, you name your minority and everything else. But the reality is the hate crimes against Jews in America have skyrocketed in unprecedented numbers. And nobody is concerned about that. When they asked Biden about what are you going to do about hate crimes in America, he said, well, we have to do a better job combating Islamophobia. When, that's not the problem. Look, I hate all hate, right? I don't like any of that stuff. But they're attacking Jews in unprecedented numbers in America, and nothing else even comes close. And they don't care. That is the reddest of the red flags that you could ever possibly imagine. So when you have spiraling numbers of, a border opening up the pathway for terrorism, you're opening up the floodgates for hate crimes. Why are we shocked? I mean, this is really. I mean, you know me. I'm the optimist. I'm the guy that always says, "Yeah, we can fix these things."
Yeah.
If 50%, if the party that represents 50% of this country embraces anti-Semitism, we do not have a fixable problem.
Well, you said it correctly earlier in your comments where you talk about what you pray about at night, and that's what people need to take away, because I think that's maybe that's where we're all supposed to be headed to anyway. So, Jim, we love you. Thank you for being with us again today.
Right. Thanks for having me.
Take care. Bye-bye. Jim Carafano, the senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation, with wise advice, maybe not advice that he was intending to give, but some that I will take is what he prays about at night. Don't forget that all of this that we're discussing right now, you can take it. You can take that into prayer. You can take it into your thoughts and into, whatever it is that you do to center yourself. And for me, it's my Christian faith. I encourage you to dabble if you're interested in it. There's a lot ahead of us. And I do pray every day that those predictions that Jim Carafano has been making on this show are wrong. And I fear that they could be right. So there's so much at stake. And you knew that already. The YouTube live chat poll for today is, are you watching the DNC convention? Yes, no, but you're interested in highlights, or no, you're not interested in all. I would really love to know where you were at on this convention and the coverage of it. Are you curious? Just even a little bit of curious as to what Joe Biden might have to say. I think Barack Obama is talking tonight, or Michelle, or I don't know who's talking when. I'll get there when I get there. But what's your interest level? You go to the Anti-Fry YouTube channel. Come vote in the poll today. Leave a comment if you so choose, and we will highlight those throughout the course of the show. We appreciate everybody visiting with us there. When we come back, Andy McCarthy, haven't spoke with him for a while. He was like an everyday request for us during all of Donald Trump's legal concerns, and those are kind of coming back into the fray here. He's a contributing editor at National Review. He's a Fox News contributor as well. And Donald Trump's sentencing is less than a month away with Judge Merchan in that Manhattan case. Is he going to go to jail? Andy McCarthy has made a pretty bold statement about whether or not he thinks that jail sentencing is around the corner. Let's talk to him about it when we come back.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Well, I was just at Cassin's right before the show started. I bought a Chrysler Pacifica from them. It's about 5 years old now. And the thing that I appreciate the most about Cassin's, and the reason why we went back to Cassin's to buy the Jeep Grand Cherokee that we're driving right now as my husband's driver, is because I trust them with everything with my car. The purchase of the car, the price of the car, the experience, the opportunity for warranties, and then the service, from oil changes to whatever it is they're doing to my car right now. And God willing, it's not the worst case scenario. Cassin's is going to take care of you just like they've taken care of me. And right now, if you're interested in buying a vehicle, they have 0% available on most new Jeeps. When others can't, Cassin's can. Go to CassinsCan.com and learn about their 0% available on most Jeeps right now, the month of August. Make sure that you get plugged in with one of their amazing sales folks there. They are all great. They all have longevity at Cassin's. They have very low turnover because when you do business right, good people want to stay and continue to work there. And that's been Cassin's experience all around. My experience as a multi-time purchaser from Cassin's, and yours as well. 0% available on most new Jeeps. Call them directly and tell them Annie sent you if you're interested in learning more. They're not pushy, I promise. 618-800-2712. 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712, online at CassinsCan.com.
Experience the beauty of custom-crafted windows that enhance your home's aesthetics and energy efficiency. Look no further than Infinity from Marvin, proudly brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. Why choose Infinity? These windows are not just strong, they're 8 times stronger than vinyl, providing unmatched security for your home. Plus, with Lakeside's expert installation, you're guaranteed precision and perfection. Visit our showroom or call Lakeside Renovation and Design today. Elevate your home with Infinity from Marvin, where strength meets style.
It's time to get your body in shape for the warm weather, and Victory Men's Health can help. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory. They've got semaglutide for ladies and men, and all you need to do is go to victorymenshealth.com to find out more. They've got 4 convenient locations now: Sunset Hills, Wing Haven, Town and Country, and O'Fallon, Illinois. A simple blood test, and you could be on the path to losing up to 15% of your body weight. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Tuesday afternoon, day 2 of the DNC. Plus, Jennifer Say, who used to run Levi's, is the founder of XXXY Athletics and has a fascinating story.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Perfect harmony and teach the world to snuff the fire.
Well, I mean, Trump certainly hasn't done anything to win favor from Judge Merchan. I think Judge Merchan is in a mood to do him any special favors, but he'll look at it, dispassionately, as his admirers have said he has done throughout this entire process, and he'll make his own decision. Obviously, being sentenced before the election, September 18th would be just 8 days after the first debate with Kamala Harris, and just as early voting is getting started. That would obviously not be, what any candidate would want, but he's going to try to turn it to his advantage. He's going to try to use that as an example, once again, for his base of persecution and grievance, how he has been unfairly targeted, in his view, by the justice system.
Peter Baker from the New York Times reacting to the September 18th date that is coming up quickly upon us, less than a month away, where Donald Trump could be sentenced to prison. And Andy McCarthy has spoken out on this and said that we should prepare ourselves for Donald Trump to be sentenced to prison. So we wanted to talk to him about that and see where he is on that currently. He's a contributing editor at National Review. He is also a Fox News contributor. We are grateful to have him back with us. Andy, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you.
Annie, nice to be with you.
So you wrote this article on Fox News, this opinion article, telling us to be prepared. What do you want people to know about Judge Merchan, the sentencing date that's coming up, and what Donald Trump's future might look like?
Well, there's new developments on that, Annie, just within the last day that we should probably talk about, and that is that the district attorney has now conceded that Trump is correct that he would have a right to appeal any decision that Judge Merchan makes on immunity. Trump has asked for the court to throw out his guilty verdicts based on the Supreme Court's immunity ruling from July. As I pointed out in a column last week, there's no law enforcement or judicial-based reason why Trump should be sentenced on September 18th, which is the 2 days after early voting begins in Pennsylvania, which is the key state in the election, according to most informed analysts. And now it looks like Bragg is admitting that even if Merchan rules against Trump on his immunity claim, Trump would have a right to appeal that in advance of being sentenced. And it therefore looks more likely, even though the judge hasn't acted on this yet, it seems to me likely that the sentencing will be postponed.
You know, it's been so interesting during all of these charges against Donald Trump, but this one specifically, how important the clock and the timeline is as to how justice is going to be served. Because, of course, with the November 5th election day, but, of course, early voting starting much earlier in front of it, there are questions as to whether or not, if you get past Election Day and Donald Trump wins the presidency, what happens to these things after the fact. My understanding is, too, that there was a request for sentencing to be delayed beyond the election as well. Do you feel like it's likely that Merchan is going to push all of this to end up being beyond the election after all?
I don't think he has any choice. It's not what they want to do. And, you know, what Bragg has tried to suggest here is that the problem is tiny here compared to, say, the immunity issue in the Washington federal case, because that case is almost exclusively built on Trump's activities as president, whereas at least ostensibly the New York state case is based on private actions. But knowing what he knew, which is that all this litigation was happening in the Supreme Court, I think Bragg recklessly and Judge Merchan somewhat cluelessly allowed the district attorney's office to offer a lot of evidence at the trial that involved and implicated Trump's official activities as president, to the point that Bragg even subpoenaed and therefore compelled the testimony of two of Trump's White House staffers, whose testimony was exclusively about activities that Trump undertook while he was president. I think it was a reckless thing for them to do when they knew that this issue was being considered by the Supreme Court, and when Trump had asked for the trial to be delayed so that the judge would have the benefit of the Supreme Court's thinking on this issue before forging ahead with the trial. But they pell-mell went ahead, And now Bragg has to concede, even though he's trying to minimize the problem, that they did offer evidence that is illegal under the Supreme Court's immunity ruling. Bragg's now trying to say that it's probably just harmless error, but in point of fact, when they were arguing to the jury, the prosecutors from Bragg's office said that the evidence that they had presented along these lines was, and this is a quote, utterly devastating. So it's hard to imagine how you can now say that something is harmless error that you told the jury was a big deal when the trial was going on.
Andy McCarthy with us right now, Fox News contributor, former chief assistant U.S. attorney as well, contributing editor at the National Review. If all of that is to be applied to this particular case, and the immunity ruling by the Supreme Court is now a major factor in evidence that was entered in to get to that conviction that Donald Trump now very excitedly wears, if you ask the Democrats, because they can't have a conversation without saying the words convicted felon. Does that result in a retrial? Do we have to go through all of this again? What would the natural conclusion be if we find out some of these things need to be pulled out and the conviction wouldn't stand?
Well, Bragg's taking the position. Let me spell out what the two sides are saying. Bragg is taking the position that what we're dealing with here is not a profound immunity issue like in the Washington federal case, where Trump is basically saying he's immune from being charged with those crimes that are based on his activities as president. Here, this is the derivative immunity issue that comes out of the Supreme Court's opinion. Remember what the Supreme Court says in the new immunity ruling is that not only are presidents immune from being charged with crimes that are wholly based on their activities as president, derivatively, you also as a prosecutor can't offer evidence of the president's immune acts, that is, official acts as president, in order to prove other crimes that are primarily private activity. That is the Bragg situation. So in the Bragg situation, you wouldn't necessarily have counts of the indictment thrown out, but what the court would, I think, probably say, I don't know that Merchant is going to say this, but I think ultimately the ruling will be that the case has to be redone because the district attorney offered important evidence over Trump's objection that was not permissible under the immunity principles, and they made a very vigorous argument about immunity. The state, I think, recklessly went ahead with it anyway. So what Bragg wants to argue is that, yes, we made a little mistake here, but it was all harmless error. And what Trump is trying to argue is that the indictment should be thrown out. And I think probably neither one of those things is right. I think what would have to happen is the case would have to be, if the state chooses to do it, the case would have to be, basically redone without that evidence in it, which, by the way, Bragg didn't need that evidence. It was foolish of him to go forward with it. In Jack Smith's case in Washington, I don't like that case, but at least, from Smith's perspective, he has to use that evidence. He doesn't have a case without it. Whereas here, Bragg kind of gratuitously did this, and he's being hoisted on his own petard because the Trump people, objected up, down, and sideways to it. And Judge Merchant obviously didn't understand the issue in the trial, because one of the things he said, one of the official acts that Trump is saying he performed was some of the tweets that he issued about some of the allegations that were being made by Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen. And the judge said, you can't tell me that that the state can't prove something that he tweeted publicly that, millions of people saw because it was on his Twitter feed. And that suggested to me, as I wrote last week, that the judge seemed to think that this was a confidentiality issue. And of course, if something's confidential, but then you blab it to a million people, yes, you can waive your confidentiality right. But this was not a confidentiality issue. This was Trump's right under the immunity doctrine not to have that offered against him as evidence in the trial. So I think that Merchan didn't even understand the fire that he was playing with because he didn't understand the issue. But in any event, I think what would ultimately happen is that if the state wanted to retry the case, they could, but they'd have to keep that evidence out. But in the meantime, Annie, it would take a long time to get there because if Merchan rules in Bragg's favor, as he has reliably done at every juncture of the trial, Trump would then be able to appeal that immediately to the appellate division in New York and then ultimately to the highest court in New York. And if he still didn't have satisfaction because it's a federal issue, he could appeal it to the Supreme Court of the United States. That could take a very long time. And Trump's point is that the Supreme Court has said that if you have an immunity issue, that has to be fully litigated before you proceed with everything else, because immunity goes to the question of whether it's proper to have the trial or the court proceeding in the first place. So Trump would be entitled, I think, to do all of those appeals before, if the case was still viable after, if for some reason all these appellate courts upheld the conviction, Merchan could then impose sentence. I don't think they're going to uphold the conviction. I think they'll throw out the convictions. But let's say the ruling goes in Bragg's favor. It would still take a very long time to get there, and Merchan would not be allowed in the meantime to impose sentence until all that litigation was done.
Oof, man, that's a lot. Andy McCarthy with us right now. So is there still a possibility, with all of that being said, is there still a possibility that Merchan tries to sentence Donald Trump on September 18th?
There's a possibility, but I think he would be stopped from doing that. And
Okay.
I actually think, look, he's never publicly parted company with Bragg throughout the case.
Mm-hmm.
And Bragg has basically now sent him this letter that basically says, look, we looked at the tea leaves here. We're not going to object if you postpone the sentence. So he knows he's in the wrong. And the way the letter is couched, they say, we're really just trying to be on the safe side here because there's a lot of resources that have to be expended in order to have proceedings in this case because of public safety and logistics. And we'd hate to see all these public resources wasted by having to plan a sentencing that ends up not happening because Trump appeals. So what Bragg is basically drawing for Merchan is a kind of a roadmap where Merchan can say, I'm putting off the sentencing in the interest of public safety and preserving resources without admitting that I have to put the sentencing off because I idiotically let this evidence in that shouldn't have come into the case.
It's like trying to rebake a cake, but this time without the sugar and the flour. No one's eating
Exactly.
that cake. Andy
Right.
McCarthy, the last question I have for you is regarding sentencing. I mean, maybe before these last developments here, just how outrageous would it really be for Merchan to impose a jail sentence for these crimes towards Donald Trump? Like on the scale of 0 to 10, where are we at on where that would be an applicable, responsible sentence for this crime in this situation?
Probably 11 or 12.
Wondering.
Look, I think that what you have to, as a matter of just like due process and equal protection of the law, no one who was not named Donald Trump would have been charged in this case. And the prosecutor, this is a progressive prosecutor in Manhattan whose MO is to plead serious crimes down to misdemeanors. Here, he pled what at most was a misdemeanor. I think he would have had trouble proving the misdemeanor. And he pled that into 34 felonies. And he did it with like 8-year-old conduct to try to get around the statute of limitations. I mean, it was like so obvious that this is a political prosecution. And then, even though the charge is falsification of business records, which is pretty puny as felonies go, they pitched it to the jury as Trump successfully conspired to steal the 2016 election. And Merchan bought that interpretation of it and went all along the way with Bragg on this. So, to me, how do you, if you're going to say this case was really about Trump stealing the world's most important political office, how do you then say, and we'll sentence him to 10 hours of probation? Stealing the presidency is like the crime of the century, right? So he's got to give him, I think he's got to give him a prison sentence. And I think his incentive is high to give him a prison sentence because Trump isn't actually going to prison. Under New York law, he's virtually certain to get bail pending appeal. So it's not like Trump, Merchant was going to pronounce sentence and then the cops would slap cuffs on Trump and cart him off to Rikers Island, right? That was not what was going to happen. It's going to be a year or two, even without the immunity stuff, it was going to be a year or two while Trump's appeal played out. So to my mind, since this is only political theater, there's no way that Trump was actually going to prison. Perversely, I think that increases Merchan's incentive to impose a stiff prison sentence because it's not like it's really going to happen, right? This was only for political messaging in the 7-week run up to the election.
Man, it's really infuriating. I bet for you that really understands the legalese of all of this even more so. It's just absolutely infuriating. Real quick, he can't pardon himself if he becomes the president for this crime because it's a state crime?
Yeah, he would have to depend on Governor Kathy Hochul to do that. Only the governor. In some states, they actually have a pardon board, but I think in New York, the governor has pardon power. I wouldn't hold my breath if I were Trump on that one. But I would assure people, though, that I think what would happen, even if they tried to impose a prison sentence on him and then execute it while his appeal was pending, meaning try to put him in prison, I think the Justice Department would go into federal court and argue that under the supremacy clause of the Constitution, the state can't interfere with the legitimate functioning of the federal government. So what would happen is Trump's sentencing would be delayed until after his presidential term was over if he won the election. So just to put everyone at ease, what happened in New York is a debacle. It's a terrible development for the criminal justice system, but President Trump is not going to Attica anytime soon.
Man, you've put a lot of people at ease, and you've also disappointed a lot of people with that statement, Andy McCarthy. That's the way of the times right now. We appreciate you, Andy. Thank you for giving us some of your afternoon. We look forward to having you back.
Thanks so much, Annie.
You as well. Bye-bye. He's a contributing editor at National Review. He's the host of the McCarthy Report. It's a podcast that I encourage you to subscribe to and check out. The McCarthy Report, Fox News contributor as well. How many people are crying right now because he just said Trump's not getting hauled off in cuffs to Rikers? So, what did he say? Complicated business. Sorry to keep you waiting. Man. And as he said, even if it were to happen, he won the re-election, he would have to serve his term and then they'd pick it up from there. Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I'll talk a little bit about our coverage of the DNC Convention here on the show and how much are you craving to hear? I got clips galore. You guys want to hear AOC? I got it. You want Kamala? I got it. You want Hillary? I got it. Why do I have all of these clips? Oh my gosh. I don't want it. But maybe you do. Go vote in the YouTube live chat poll and tell us, how much of this convention are you trying to take in? We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I recognize that there are certain brands that when you see them in a store or wherever you're at, you have kind of an affinity for those. I don't know if you have that with Andrea's sauce. I do. My goal is to get you there because anytime I'm in a grocery store and I see Andrea's sauce, I kind of light up. I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, I talk about them on the radio, but I've also eaten Andrea's steaks and steak sauce for years. In fact, I think I could say my entire life because they were around since 1978. I was around a little shortly after that, and my dad has been cooking with it forever. Just the smell of the grill and the summer is what comes to mind when I see Andrea's sauce. And so I want you to incorporate Andrea's sauce into your dinner regimen. Still going to be some great grilling weather. I know we're all thinking about fall, but gosh, I mean, we still got 2 or 3 months of really good grilling weather. So you need to grab a bottle of Andrea's sauce, take it outside. Even if you don't, you put it on pork tenderloin or burgers inside like we do often. It makes dinner so much easier for the protein and also so much quicker to do because you don't have to think about it. Get Andrea's at any area grocery store at Andrea's.com.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Renewal by Anderson's 1 month only sale is happening now. Save hundreds on every window and patio door with 0 interest for 3 years. Call by August 31st. 314-720-9200.
Are you watching the DNC this year? Let us know if that's a yes or no, but you're interested in the highlights. No, you're not interested in at all. We really hope you're at least interested in the highlights, because Annie just said we're going to play a bunch of them in the next segment. So that's my choice, so that I can enjoy.
Were going to. I said I have them, and Brad gave them to me, so it's on him.
Are you interested in the DNC? Let Brad know. 150 now. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. You've got thoughts. Did you know you also have a microphone?
Hello, and thank you for calling the DNC. No one can answer the phone right now because the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Let us know by clicking the microphone in the Odyssey app.
She was more like a beauty queen from the movie scene. Said, don't mind, what do you mean? I am the one that'll dance.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
In the round.
Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Fry Show.
She told me her name was Billie Jean. She caused a scene. And every head turned with eyes that dreamed of being the one who dance on the floor in the round. Yeah, people always told
women
me
are not without electoral or political power. No kidding.
I'm not sure. I wish we would have had the beginning of that phrase, because he emphatically goes, quote, and then he goes in to say, he just falls apart, as he is apt to do when he is speaking. One of the reasons why I believe he is not running for a second term, I don't think he's got the mental capacity to do it anymore. When the DNC opened last night and Ashley Biden came out, I thought Ashley Biden did a great job, all things considered. I thought she looked great. I thought she spoke very well. I always try to picture myself being somebody who loves these people and consume it that way, just so I can kind of try to put myself in someone else's shoes. Of course, watching the RNC convention, which by all accounts was done magnificently well. The people on MSNBC, which is where I consumed most of it. I was on vacation, but I was tuning into MSNBC. This is how good I felt about it, to watch them lament how well the convention was going for Republicans. You could tell that there was enthusiasm. The room was electric. That's what they keep saying. But for the Democrats, I want to try to consume it the way they might consume it. And when everything that the Democrat party currently stands for is fear of Donald Trump, that's not really a joyful place to be because everything is preceded by fear of the orange man. And I don't feel like that breeds happiness when like-minded people like that get together. That's been my experience. Watching last night and seeing Ashley Biden talk, she starts off, do we have a clip of her talking? I don't think we do. She starts off discussing a memory that she has with her father from when she was 8. And everybody who's been paying attention for a while leans in and goes, what? What's this? What? What are you talking about? And then she goes to tell a story that I'm sure in the context of having a father who travels all the time and is always busy elsewhere, this was an endearing moment. But she was talking about turning, I think, 8 years old and how she said, her mom said, everybody get in the car. Jill puts everybody in the car and they jump in the car and they drive to the Amtrak station and they go out there and they whip out a cake. Joe Biden gets off the Amtrak train. They sing happy birthday. They celebrate her birthday. And then he had to get right back on the next train on the other side of the platform to go back to work. And I felt like that was a tragic story. That did not feel to me. Listen, I understand the value of a father who takes the time to make happen what you can make happen. But there are a lot of stories about the Biden family where his ambition for career far supersedes his presence as a father. And I was thinking to myself, a birthday cake on an Amtrak platform, that's the moment. That's the thing that you recall and want to tell everybody who's watching right now about your dad. I mean, I guess it's just kind of maybe you had to be there to understand the impact of that moment. I thought Jill Biden looked stunning. Her dress was beautiful. She looked beautiful. She championed Joe's existence as a human. That was pretty much it. She made a couple comments at the end championing Kamala and saying, like, now we got to get behind her. So she didn't completely punt on that, but it was all about Joe's relationship with people in his life. And that was it. And then she starts talking about how strong of a decision it was for Joe Biden, you know, the moment when he decided that he was going to step down. And I think that most people understand that that's not how that went. Are you watching the DNC convention? Did you take all of this in for yourself? The convention that's supposed to be about joy was last night capped off mostly by a very angry, yelly Joe Biden. I'd be curious to know what you think. You can vote in today's poll. Yes, you're watching. No, but you are interested in the highlights, which we can certainly provide for you here on our station and on this show. Or no, you're not interested at all. I mean, I think it goes without saying that we all have a professional obligation to watch it, but where do you put your interest level here?
Yeah, beyond that, I feel like I need to watch it. I am interested in the highlights. I would like to see the next morning. I like waking up and seeing if anything interesting happened.
Brad?
There are certain speakers that I want to watch. I'm not interested in watching the whole thing, but there are certain speakers that I want to watch. Like last night I was gaming with my friends. Like, Joe Biden's going to speak. I got to get off, and then proceeded to wait an extra 20 minutes for him to get on stage.
I waited an hour. It was a long time. It was a very long time. Let us know what you think. We've got a lot of people weighing in on this today. Let's see here. Charlie says, H-E double hockey sticks no. That is a direct quote. I don't know what that means. Shelly said, nope, can't stand the lies. And Dirk said, no, interested in the highlights. Highlights, haha. We'll be right back.
If you're considering new windows, there's nowhere else to go but Window World. Mark Cox here. My friends at Window World are doing something now they've never done before. That is offering up to 36 months interest-free financing for your purchase. So you get the great windows put in now, you get the energy efficiency, the great look, and then you have 36 months to pay for it. How about that? Window World has been around for a long time, and their reputation speaks for itself. They are highly rated in the Better Business Bureau and all all of the rating agencies. They're big supporters of our St. Louis Blues. And here's the thing. If you mention you heard this on the Mark Cox Morning Show in 97.1, you're going to be entered in a drawing for 4 Blues tickets during the upcoming season. And that's great. They're going to pick a winner every month, and good luck to you. If you need new windows, I'm telling you, Window World is the way to go. 314-993-1800. That's 993-1800 or windowworldstlouis.com.
I want to talk to you about Ruler Foods and the most obvious way to save on a repetitive bill that everybody has. It's your grocery bill. Have you stopped at Ruler Foods yet? When you visit rulerfoods.com, you're going to be able to find one that is conveniently located for you, whether it's by work, by home, maybe by church on Sunday. They are on Illinois and Missouri sides of the river, and they are easy to shop. When you visit Ruler Foods, you're going to understand quickly that the savings really add up. You can put more in your cart. Your dollar will go further when you shop at Ruler Foods. You can save on delicious fresh produce. We load up our cart with produce from Ruler Foods, like fresh pineapple and mangoes, which are 99 cents each right now. You can get Kroger 80% lean ground beef sold in a 3-pound roll, just $3.66 a pound. Heritage Farm whole fryer chickens, 99 cents a pound. And more savings every day at Ruler Foods. They carry Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices, along with the name brands you trust. Go online to rulerfoods.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Separate events with a common theme. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Former President Trump set to speak in suburban Detroit after running mate J.D. Vance went to Wisconsin, also focusing on crime and safety.
The Trump campaign has been blasting Vice President Kamala Harris and her record on crime, of course, as the DA in California, but also as the VP in this administration. And they've also been disputing the FBI's reporting that crime is down, writing this: Kamala is relying on highly incomplete data to make inaccurate claims about crime, as she tells Americans not to believe their lying eyes.
Fox's Aisha Hasni in Howell, Michigan. The Harris campaign blasting the former president for holding an event there.
That's because last month, while he was up there in Grand Rapids rallying, about a dozen white supremacists showed up outside the courthouse here in Livingston County, and they were chanting things like Heil Hitler and We Love Trump.
On day 2 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, delegates will hold a ceremonial roll call vote. Vice President Harris is already the nominee after a virtual vote earlier this month. But about 30 convention delegates are uncommitted.
Largely the result of protest votes against President Biden and his Israel policy. Even though they're a small fraction of the roughly 4,000 delegates, they say they represent hundreds of thousands of voters who can sway this election.
Fox's Rich Edson at the DNC. More pro-Palestinian protests expected outside the convention site after some protesters broke through barricades and got arrested by police in riot gear last night. A Georgia sheriff's deputy fighting for his life after he was shot early today while executing a search warrant at a home with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
From what I understand, it was a bullet that struck him in the face. He's been transported to Grady, like I said, in very, very critical condition.
Carroll County Sheriff spokesperson Ashley Holsey asking the community to pray for the deputy and the department. The suspected gunman was killed. America is listening to Fox News.
Seems like there's more identity theft in the news every day.
Another major healthcare breach was reported today, resulting in the exposure. Now, 1 in 4 consumers have been a victim of identity.
That's because there are endless places that could accidentally expose you to identity theft, in a breach, or simply by mistake. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it. Guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, checking in?
This is not just your flu shot appointment at Walgreens.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
This is getting your entire family vaccinated in one trip.
Hey, Mom?
And a snack on the way out. Get flu shots for everyone in your family. Together. Schedule appointments online today. This is wellness made easy. Walgreens.
Vaccine subject to availability and for ages 3+. State and health-related restrictions may apply.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The summer August break continues, especially right through Thursday. Then summer starts to make a comeback. But for this afternoon, sunny and nice 80. Tonight, clear skies 60. Wednesday, sunny 79. Wednesday night, clear skies 58. Thursday, sunny and 81. 90 plus Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
STS-Armory.com. In Pontoon Beach, Illinois, your visit to STS Armory, you're going to feel like home when you walk in to their shop. And they're always making improvements, and they have really great things on the horizon at STS Armory. So go meet them now. Talk to Katie and Jesse about what you are trying to accomplish by visiting their store. What are you looking to purchase? What are you considering learning? Because they have the classes to go along with the merchandise that you might be trying to purchase. When you need to get that conceal and carry license renewed, Katie and Jesse at STS Armory can help you do that. They're the best when it comes to instruction. They're conveniently located. They are going to give you all of the requirements met that you need in order to get that conceal and carry license renewed. You can find them in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. You can call them at 618-931-GUNS, 618-931-GUNS, and ask them about the classes that they offer or any questions you might have about some merchandise you're looking for, or maybe a question you might have about your FOID card or your conceal and carry. They are there to help. 618-931-GUNS, STS-Armory.com.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Shop summer brake deals at O'Reilly Auto Parts and get 2 cans of O'Reilly brake cleaner for just $8. Offer valid in-store only. The professional parts people can recommend the right brake parts and supplies for your next brake job at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Freedom of thought. Freedom of speech. It's defended here on your home for conservative talk and conservative values. 97.1 FM Talk.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back. Here's a quick question. When was the last time you wrote a letter?
Like hand wrote a letter.
A letter.
Not even typed or
anything.
anything.
No, you could type it, but like a letter to be mailed, not something digitally, not an email.
Man, it would maybe be something legal, but never anything personal. It's been I can't even remember that.
Do you remember in English class, like spending time learning, like this is right indented and this is left indented and here's the greeting and here's the sincerely and all the stuff?
Definitely.
What useless skills.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day because I saw somebody post, you had to learn a lot of things about how to do math in your head because you wouldn't have a calculator with you all the time. That's not true. We have a calculator with us all the time now.
You ever use photo math?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, photo math.
Are you good at math?
I'm decent with numbers, yeah.
With your kids, is there math homework? Like, who's the math person in your house?
Well, right now, my wife is everything because she is a teacher and she just kind of handles
Just because you're a teacher doesn't mean that you're an expert in all subjects.
No, but they're still at the age where she can kind of do everything with them.
When math gets complicated, what are you going to do?
They'll probably come to me. Not that she's bad at it.
What's the highest level math you think that you can assist with without having to go relearn yourself and pray to God that they're teaching it the same way that you remember learning it? Otherwise, you got to start.
Yeah, I'm decent with practical math. It was once it got into theoretical, like calculus and pre-calculus is when I started to have trouble. I had fine time with geometry.
How far did you go?
I think I got to pre-calc, and then I was like, this is... I like practical math a lot. I really like polls and numbers and stuff like that, but I just don't...
Polls and numbers aren't math.
But they are numeric, and I like that stuff.
You like numbers.
Yeah, I do.
Get you a puzzle.
All the real estate stuff. You got to do math all the time. I enjoy it, but I like real math, not theoretical math. So I would cap out at pre-calculus because that's where I did.
I feel like if there an engineer who builds bridges right now listening, you probably think they use theoretical math.
No, they use geometry. They use, and I like that.
Lots of things.
I really did enjoy that because it was real. It was in the real world.
So what is theoretical to you?
Well, calculus gets into you're answering questions that are based on questions that I'm like, how does this apply to anything though?
Photomath is an app on your phone. You take a picture of the problem, and then it walks you step by step through how to solve it.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And my son took algebra last year as an 8th grader, and there were times where he wasn't sure how to do a problem. And my husband has taught grade school math, like through 8th grade math, and I think he did some algebra as an educator, but it wasn't his subject that he was like, he likes history. That's what he teaches now. So he's familiar with it, but I leave it to him because I don't have the patience for it. I could do it if I had to do it, but I don't really have the patience to learn, and I don't want my lack of patience to rub off. My kids need to think I'm super excited about math and their homework, and that's not true. They're in school right now, so it's okay. But the skills, isn't it really funny as an adult when you're in the middle of doing something that is an adult thing and you use a math skill? You're like, I just had to find the other side of that triangle. And you're like, I remember how to do the Pythagorean theorem.
Oh, man, I'd be hard-pressed to go back and do that. I haven't used that.
You could figure it out.
Could I?
I think so.
Well, I got a phone. I could probably look it up.
You just do photo math.
Yeah.
You're just going to figure out how to write the problem and take a picture of it. There's so many skills that our generation specifically, the elder millennial generation, we grew up the way our parents grew up. We came of age in the old way of doing basically everything, which is delineated by computers and processing and the rapid exponential growth of opportunity that was opened up by computing. But we were also young enough, most of us probably got the internet sometime in junior high, high school, like just access to it either in our home for the first time or at school, like maybe could send an email. I remember logging onto the internet and like finally getting that thing to connect, and then you're like in, and then you're like, now what?
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing. It's like, what do you do? You build a website.
You create an email, which was really fun because it was like speaking code language.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember so many of my friends would be like, what's your email address? Mine is cooljoe96.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I feel like instant messenger could still exist. I think that I would still have fun on my computer right now if I had Windows open with all of my friends and we just sent I mean, that's what texting is, I suppose, but I kind of still would nostalgically appreciate instant messenger existing when I log on to the computers. I mean, I guess it still is real, but I'd really like to hear the ling. And then there's my friend.
It's
Hi.
nostalgic. It's super nostalgic. You know, that is where my wife and I's relationship really took off, was on instant messenger.
Did you meet each other
We had met each
person,
other, yeah.
But you could talk more.
We were long distance.
Frequently.
She was in Columbia, Missouri. I was here. And so we would see each other somewhat frequently, but when just during the week, that's how we would talk.
You met each other at a rave.
Mm-hmm. I was super high.
That's not true. You took it too far. Where did you met at a party?
Yeah, we were just messing around with glow sticks. I wasn't high. But
it was VBS.
We did meet at I guess it was technically a party. Everything was a party when you're in college and somebody's having people over.
Yeah.
Everything's a party.
It's not a gathering.
Yeah.
What you do when you're old.
We would treat it that way. We would play Monopoly. That is not that far from what we actually did. And I met her at a group, a house party where we had mutual friends, and we didn't really hit it off very well. I was actually more interested in her friend. And she knows this. Don't worry.
She better. Oh, man.
And then within about 8 to 9 months later, I saw her at another one of those parties with that same friend and was like, oh, I'm actually more interested in this girl. And then I stayed interested in that girl. And then we instant messaged each other, and my name was Friend Pal 2000.
Was what? Friend Pal?
I pretended to be a robot that you could ask any question you wanted, and it was Friend Pal 2000. That was my moniker.
That is so Ryan Wiggins.
Yeah, it is.
How long did it take for her to be interested in you? Has she come around yet?
She's getting there. She really wanted a family, and I was like, I'll provide for you. She's like, okay, I guess so. No, we talk about it. It's very interesting because there is something about, we both referred to it as God just turned on a light switch. Because we had met, we had been at events together, we had talked a little bit, no interest. And then all of a sudden, boom, both of us. And we don't know why.
God.
We really do think that it was like God was said, okay, now you're interested in each other. And it was at the same time.
Did you text each other at all? Was texting even a thing? I didn't text. Like, I specifically remember texting costing 10 cents a text. Mm-hmm. And it was like, you just didn't do it. It was rude. It was like an imposition to tell somebody that, like, my words to you are worth 10 cents of your money. Kids these days have no idea.
With that in mind, I would have been texting people more.
Just like 10 cents. That's what you said.
Cost you.
10
cost
cents.
you.
Ching, ching.
I don't think we texted a lot because I had a flip phone until 2014.
So you had to do
it was the press the button
ABC.
3 times. Yeah, I remember doing that. It didn't seem that long ago.
You ever see those things on Facebook where they show like the code? Like, if you can read this, you're officially old, and it's like 222 and then 55.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got to figure out what's that called? T9 texting?
I know what you're for. I don't know the name of it.
Why do I know that?
Yeah, why do you know that? I'm not sure whether that's impressive or unimpressive.
Google T9 texting, and I opened the window I had open currently, which is the No Scrubs lyrics, and I'm just going to leave that there.
I'm going to Google T1000.
T9 texting is a predictive text input that allows users to type words by pressing a single key for each letter on a numeric keypad.
T1000 is a fictional character in the Terminator franchise, debuting as the antagonist in the 1991 film Terminator 2.
This is the best radio we've done. We're just Googling things that might be real. I'm just thinking about, like, so much of the technology that my kids are growing up with, and I'm trying to think of what we grew up with that our parents didn't grow up with, and they had to adjust when they parented us. with the same gravity that we've had to adjust. Because should my kids know how to write a formal letter? Probably.
I don't know.
But you said it when at first, like the only time you have to do that is when there's legal correspondence, and you don't want that.
And even that is the legal system has caught up to faxing. I'm not sure about past that, but sometimes they'll allow you to send in pictures of your documents now. COVID changed some of that. But up until 2020, it was like, well, you could fax it in.
Whenever they say, like, submit a document, I always take pictures of it, and I try to make it look like it's like a scanned version so much because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble if they find out that I took a picture of it and
That's
sent it in.
just a picture on your kitchen table. I can see the grain work.
Yeah, no, I'm like zooming in and cropping and making the contrast super high so the black is, but taking out the saturation so that it's black and white. Let all of my secrets out here.
Have you ever been hit by this one? I was applying for a mortgage not too long ago, and I got hit because the mortgage company said, I can't see all four corners of your paper. Like, really? That's a thing?
Didn't you get the corners?
Well, I tried, like you, to zoom in to give
So just make it a rectangle.
Just, make it look like there was no form.
They wanted to see
it
the was
edges.
A real paper.
Yes.
So they wanted to see a little of the table.
Yes.
Oh, now I've been doing it wrong.
I know. I was shocked and a little bit offended by that. You don't appreciate how much time I put into that picture.
Could you write a formal letter?
I don't think I could write it with all the correct format and everything like that, but...
Don't you feel like the people who you'd be writing them to, like if you even attempted to be close, they'd be like, oh, this is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, your dog has been pooping in my garden. Sincerely, Brad.
To whom
is that a thank you or a no thank you?
I'm not sure.
Fertilizer.
Yeah.
Free.
Up to the receiver.
What else do you feel like we had to do growing up? I mean, talking on a phone in the area of, well, first of all, talking on the phone. Nobody talks on the phone anymore. I avoid verbal conversations on phones like my life depends on it. Why?
Okay. There is a group of people, though, in the United States who just love talking on the phone. And I pass them in the grocery store. I don't know.
Around all of them in the doctor's office.
They're wherever, and they're not a lot of them.
Are they of a particular age?
Clearly, they're not. They're of any age. Although I would say they do skew older now that I'm thinking about it. That's I don't see younger people doing this as much, but some I do. And the thing that always shocks me is not that there's somebody in public talking on the phone. That I see. It's that there's somebody on the other end of that phone call also talking somewhere. And it is boring conversation. Like, it is not interesting. And it's not just, hey, should I pick up Rice-A-Roni? What brand? That stuff I get.
Because my husband and I will talk, and we will actually, more often than not, if he's in the store, he does the shopping, FaceTime, so that I can help him shop. Maybe that's probably obnoxious.
No, this will be conversations like, no, did you hear that her daughter's graduating? Yeah, I can't believe it either. It's like, she's so old. And there's nothing wrong with the conversation, but it's just amazing to me that that's still happening. And these conversations, sometimes you pass them a few times in a store, and they go on for a long time.
I have to physically and mentally prepare to have a verbal phone conversation with people. I used to talk, like, growing up, you could ask my parents. I remember when we got call waiting, which was fantastic because I would talk on the phone with my friends for hours. And my sister would talk on the phone as well. So you'd have to fight over, whether you answered call waiting, like, oh, I didn't get a beep. Like a beep? Okay.
Oh, there's another one. Making a voicemail message was like the greatest thing in the world.
On my voicemail on my cell phone, say, sorry, couldn't get to the phone. Send me a text. I'll get right back to you. That's pretty much what it is. And I remember I was one of the, I don't know that I didn't hear that from anyone. It's 2024. I know there's going to be a beep. When the beep happens, I don't start to panic. I don't just look around and look for help and assistance and what to do. I called you, you didn't answer, and then you said some words to me, and then there was a beep, and you didn't tell me what to do now. What the heck am I supposed to do? Like, we know what to do after the beep. You don't need to tell us.
Brad, that right there is today's video.
Am I right?
And people can use it as their voicemail message.
You know what to do. Text me and then beep.
You know what I'm talking about.
It's laborious when you get a voicemail.
And I used to do the longest ones just for that reason.
Oh my gosh. I would just not talk to you.
Yeah, and that's okay. But go ahead.
I was going to say, it is laborious, but iPhone, and I don't know if Android has done this or not, but it transcribes all of my voice messages.
It can, if you want to.
I don't remember what it was, but for the longest time, for probably 2 or 3 years, I had one that was just the Family Feud theme song playing for almost a full minute. And at the very end of it, it was
the
like...
Family Feud song. If you don't like mine, you can use his.
Yep,
use that one.
Hated the hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, the trick one.
Oh, it's the worst.
Seems right up your alley.
No, because it was too obvious of a joke, Annie. I wasn't going to do that. Somebody else had already done it. That is an art form that needs to come back.
The obvious joke?
No, not the obvious joke. The voicemail message.
Ones that make you want to listen to the end? And hear the beep?
Yeah, yes. Because people don't call each other much.
You go first.
When you do, now I feel like there's a little room for
treat.
entertainment there. Yeah, a little treat. A little peanut butter kiss.
How about if you go to the Odyssey app, if you want to, you can leave suggestions of what Ryan Wiggins' voice message should sound like.
Yeah, click the microphone.
I don't know how to do that. I know that it can be done.
And maybe I'll just use it straight out of the Odyssey app.
Explain people how to do this newfound fun feature.
You listen to the show, this station, on the Odyssey app, and then in the bottom corner, there's a microphone, and you click on the microphone, and it just starts recording, and you leave a message. That's it, and then we get it. And I was just listening to them right before I came in the studio.
We have some?
Yeah.
Okay. I have the app. I'm logging in. I'm going to check it out.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a quick break. More on the YouTube poll when we come back. Are you watching the DNC Convention? Yes. No, but interested in the highlights, or no, you're not interested at all. We've got a lot of votes coming in. We need yours. It's pretty close between two of these options. You might be the deciding vote. If you come vote at the Andy Fry YouTube channel right now. We'll be right back.
This is the Andy Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Like a hand in rusted chain. So do you laugh or does it cry?
Point Pest Control. Point is spelled with an E on the end. So you go to pointpestcontrol.com and get rid of the pests in your home. You are going to be so grateful to have made this connection. I am certainly grateful to have made this connection. I am a subscriber to their premier service plan. They come out quarterly, and the pests are not in my home. It is amazing. When you mention the Annie Fry Show, when you call them at 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023, you mention my name, Annie, and you're going to save an extra 10% on the top of whatever special they have going on right now. In Illinois, in Missouri, Point Pest Control is there to make sure that you don't have to worry about pests in your home any longer. I'm talking about ants and spiders and crickets and mice. I'm talking about termites and mosquitoes. They can help you with all of these pests and more. You just need to give them a call and have the conversation about what you're dealing with, and they will cater their services to you. 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
From trees that need planting to fences that need building, you have a lot to do. But that's no excuse to skip the most important step in any digging project, locating the underground facility. Submit a free locate request online at Missouri-811.org or by calling 811 3 working days before digging. Missouri 811 will contact the public utility owners so they can locate their underground utilities and you can dig with confidence. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444. 800-513-4444.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. For a limited time, save $55 off a new water heater. Air Comfort Service not only installs attic insulation and HVAC systems, they also install water heaters. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
You're mobile. We're with you on the radio or on the Odyssey app. Download it and take 97.1 with you, even outside the listening area.
Your home for conservative talk.
97.1 FM Talk.
Described tonight as bittersweet. It's just bitter. The fact of the matter, I'm not saying Joe Biden is bitter, but, you know, it's like you've been thrown out a window, and as you're falling, you go, gee, it's nice out here. No, he got thrown out of a window, and basically he was forced. You know, there's going to be a lot of talk tonight about how generous it was of him and selfless of him. He was basically forced out by Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama and Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. And I suspect even the fact that there has been this surge of enthusiasm since he left and Kamala Harris took his place, that's got to be pretty tough, too. You got thrown out of a window and everybody's applauding the person who's now in the room.
It's supposed to be a love fest. The Democrats are supposed to be all coming together, and they are supposed to just be like joyful that they're now like that last night was, they kept talking about there being like this pressure release and everything, and it was weird. And then they're talking about how like everything now is looking forward. We won't go back is their way of saying not to back to Donald Trump. I mean, honestly, if you go back, Kamala Harris is the past also.
Yeah.
You can't undo that. But at the same time, this idea that everything is joyful looking forward is completely and totally dismissive of Joe Biden and what he has done up until here.
I mean, he was bullied out of this race after 52 years of service to the Democratic Party, and it wasn't all about his age. He was unpopular. He was going to lose. It was Afghanistan. It was inflation. It was immigration. And now... and he had to be dragged out by the fingernails. I'm sorry. This is not. So he's not here in a happy moment, okay? I know that this yarn that's being spun in this hall that he was popular and selfless and handing on. No. It is the opposite, and everybody knows it, and yet the Democrats are engaging in this theater of looking into cameras and saying it. So it's not true. I'm interested to see how they handle it tonight, but also moving forward, because what the Republicans will do is say, look, this was Joe Biden's loyal lieutenant, the last person in the room on Afghanistan, helped him on immigration, which you hate. Now all of a sudden proposing to do something about inflation when she hasn't for 3.5 years. She will be stuck to him for the election, and will the voters buy that she had nothing to do with any of it?
This is just like Scott Jennings' moment in the sun. He is having such a great time at CNN reacting to this. People are becoming much more familiar with him. I know I think he's a regular guest on Mark Reardon's show as well. So he's familiar with our station for sure. But he's absolutely correct, along with Chris Wallace, who we played there beforehand, that Joe Biden is not some selfless individual who saw that there was an opportunity in front of him and it was going to require sacrifice on his part, but the opportunity presented itself and he wanted to do the right thing. They took him kicking and screaming. Listen to Nancy Pelosi.
I have to do what I have to do.
Right.
He made the decision for the country. My concern was not about the president, it was about his campaign.
So I just have to say that Nancy Pelosi is basking in the respect that people are giving her, suggesting that she could single-handedly make this come to pass. She is towing the line. It looks almost sloppy how much she's choosing her words carefully about the discussions that were had between Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, between the Pelosis and the Bidens, and that, she loves him, and she continues to say, like she said in this one, that Nancy Pelosi had to do what she had to do. She says things like that, and then she corrects herself real quick and says, Joe Biden made the choice. But she never, ever doesn't first say, I had to do what I had to do. She loves this. She's soaking it up. Nancy Pelosi is high on the hog right now over having all of this power as an emerita member of the speaker, whatever, of the House of Representatives. She still gets to be politically all powerful behind the scenes. So powerful, she wants everybody to know that she really does pick who the nominee is going to be and who it's not going to be. And in a republic democracy, if you have that kind of power, I wonder if you even have a republic.
That's a very good question. Nancy Pelosi, you're right, has been so specific with what she's saying that it's almost as if she's losing control of the narrative by trying to contain the narrative, because everybody knows what happened. And for her to come out and say anything other than what everybody already knows makes her look like a liar.
Do you remember what she was saying before Joe Biden dropped out, in that space in between the debate and him actually dropping out? People were all like, is he going to drop out? Is he going to drop out? And Joe Biden was like, I'm not dropping out. I'm in this to win this. And then they would ask Nancy Pelosi, and she's like, well, he has to make that decision, and I'm sure he'll make the correct decision. That was her line every time.
I say the same thing about my children when they think that they're going to play video games or go out with their friends, but they haven't cleaned their room yet. That's exactly what you say. They will make they have the opportunity to make the right decision here.
Yeah.
There's only one right decision, and it's a power play to say it that way.
Yep. And it's so funny to see him up there playing along with the charade, because even he didn't want to leave. He did not want to leave, but he knew, and Jill knew probably more than anybody, that if I don't, the rest of my life, we're going to lose the election, and the rest of my life I will be like spat upon by Democrats. And I don't want that to happen. I want to be cool still. I want to be in the club. So I got to do this. And then I'll just say that I was doing it for America and there was no pressure. This was my decision.
The whole speech was him saying how awesome of a job he was doing. I was doing a great job for America. But then I thought I should drop out.
I'm still fine now.
Last night I watched that, and there was just maybe like 2% of me that was like, I kind of want to see him just lose it and go, you know what? I was forced out, and just to see what would have happened in that spectacle. Like, do they usher him off stage? Does he finish? Does everybody sit there in horror? It didn't happen, which is unfortunate because I think that would have been really entertaining. But that was, kind of one of the things I was hoping would happen.
What's that? She's old.
Yeah, how old is she?
She's an old bat.
81?
Maybe older. My guess is 82.
84.
Ay. Inflation.
Yeah, last you checked, she was 82.
She was.
It was a couple years ago.
She's still 82.
Yeah.
Just add 2 plus 2. We're talking about math. She's old. She's not going to be around to do this forever. What happens when the Nancy Pelosi's are gone? Joe Biden is about gone. I don't feel like Joe Biden ever had his hands firmly on 10 and 2 of the Democrat Party. He was always in the passenger car, maybe in the back seat going, can I sit in the front? Can I sit in the front? Can I sit in the front?
Yeah.
And finally you're like, sit in the front.
I don't even think he ever sat in the front.
I think he
was in the back.
He got to be the president.
He was in the car seat.
Well, he got to be the president.
He's not driving.
He was in the presidential limo in the back. He wasn't driving. But you're right about Nancy Pelosi. Like, this generation of people who are clearly dictating things behind the scenes, they're going to... This is about it for them, except for Barack Obama. He'll be around for a long time.
We are 10 years away from an incredibly different layout, and the direction that the Democrat Party is going is dramatically to the progressive left.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I mean, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez with the primetime speaking, preaching. There is a clip that is out there. It's probably the clip that most people have seen or consumed, where at the end, she goes around and looks at the camera, and I had to avert my eyes. I'm laying in bed trying to read this. And she's throwing the right arm up and the left arm up and then the both arms up, and she's just delivering the goods to the people. And then she looks at the eyes and looks at the camera and I'm like, whoa, yeah. And I had to move. And then there's the state legislator from Michigan who has long red hair. What is the tongue thing? It's all I could see.
Wait, explain this, because I watched this.
Lizard. I said it.
Was she going like that?
Have you seen a lizard?
I have.
A lizard.
Yeah, we call them skinks.
Lizard.
Yeah.
She is giving her speech, and I don't know that she's the one who is like, we need to elect Kamala Harris because Donald Trump is going to weaponize the Justice Department against his opponents. And you're like, and I was like, what are you doing with your tongue, though? Why is it coming out so much? And all the way. I think she caught a fly.
I did not notice that. So
oh my gosh!
I was watching and listening, and I got to tell you a little behind the scenes here. I was doing some X's and O's questions, and
better not be about that lady's tongue.
It won't be about that lady's tongue, but the quote that came from her had to have been one of the best of the whole night about how only dictators weaponize the Department of Justice against their political opponents. You're going, this had to make it through screening. How did this get to prime time?
They know what they're doing.
They believe it.
I don't think they do.
You don't think they think that they're actually defending democracy?
They? The people up here?
The people up top.
No, they don't believe that at all.
They know they're selling you.
The people mid-level and down
are
buying what they're selling.
They think you're stupid.
It's incredible that the guy who's currently being prosecuted and persecuted by the Department of Justice is the guy who they say is the biggest threat to democracy because he'll use the Department of Justice.
They know all that. You know why they say it? To piss people like you and me off. To get us
it works.
It does if you let it. But they're trying to get under your skin to get you distracted about talking about that, and not the fact that if I go back to the X profile, let me read to you what Chad Wolf, who is the former Department of Homeland Security Acting Secretary, Executive Director, Chief Strategy Officer, and Chairman of Homeland Security, and he's with A1 Policy. He bullet points what the Kamala Harris border policy and immigration policy is. Number 1, provides a pathway to citizenship for more than 15 million illegal aliens, including aliens who were previously deported during the Trump administration. Number 2, requires taxpayers to pay for previously deported illegal aliens to be brought back to the United States.
Oh my gosh.
Number 3, excludes the ability to remove aliens with felony records. Number 4, eliminates penalties such as a 10-year reentry bar for illegal aliens living in the United States. Number 5, this is the Kamala Harris immigration border plan. Number 5, severely limits the president's ability to restrict individuals coming into the United States from areas of the world who are, quote, not in the national interest, end quote, putting the interest of illegal aliens over our national security. Number 6, requires the issuance of a social security number to all illegal aliens, making it easier to obtain a driver's license and voter's registration. Number 7, facilitates an increase in non-merit-based legal immigration, such as the diversity visa lotteries and family-based caps. Number 8, eliminates the word alien from the Immigration and Nationality Act and replaces it with non-citizen. Number 9, waives the English language requirement for nationalization for immigrants in certain cases. Number 10, eliminates the 1-year filing deadline for asylum, ensuring illegal aliens can file for asylum after living in the United States for years. And number 11, provides taxpayer-funded attorneys to illegal alien parents and children. And he cites the Democrats.org website for all of this information that he's pulled out there, Congress.gov as well, in a bill that they've put that they're centering this on. These are all things that, should you elect Kamala Harris, these are the priorities. This is when she says she's going to go take care of immigration and the border. This is what she's going to do. It's outrageous.
I'm not going to be able to remember all of those.
I retweeted it. It's from Chad Wolf.
Thank you. Was it number 2 that said she's going to bring back those deported already? I mean,
requires taxpayers to pay for previously deported illegal aliens to be brought back to the United States.
That's incredible. If you're running for office and trying to pretend that you've gone to the middle and the record that you've had in the last 4 years doesn't matter, here's what I'm going to do. You don't say that stuff, but that is there. That is part of her platform. That's incredible.
Should we listen to Timothy's voice message for you on your phone?
I don't know. Should we?
I don't know.
We're sorry. Mr. Ryan Wiggins is not available right now. Please leave a message. Well, you know.
Thank you. Thank you. I wouldn't be surprised if I end up using that.
Sober has a suggestion as well from...
Why are you calling me? I'm just Ryan Wiggins.
I am using that. I'm going to have to talk to legal about the blurred lines between using it on my personal voicemail or not. But yeah, I think we got a winner there.
Are we sure we want to tell people about this feature?
It's pretty fun.
Our boss is like, you got to use it. You got to promote it. People want to call in. Thanks, Sober. That's his name. Thanks, Sober.
I'm glad you're sober.
We got Sober to call in and answer that. And Dalton called in to answer about today's poll about watching the DNC convention.
I attempted to watch the DNC last night, but as soon as Hillary Clinton came on, I had to turn it off. As far as the quote of the day, or question of the day, the vote of the day, at this point, I really don't care what the DNC has to say, because all of their policies are either an extension of Biden or stolen from Trump.
And you know that they are extension from Biden because they forgot to take Biden's name out of their platform 19 times.
That is so stupid.
Oops. Let's take a quick break. Hernan says, I'm watching some of it, but not because I enjoy it, but to learn what the other half of the whatever your current education system is, and that is our area's amazing Lutheran schools. I am a product of Lutheran schools. I support Lutheran schools. I send my kids to Lutheran schools. And the thing that I love the most about them is how welcoming and inclusive they are to people of all faiths. You think about a Lutheran school and you're like, well, I'm not Lutheran. That has nothing to do with it. They have a wonderful education that they provide in a Christ-centered environment, which is incredibly valuable to me, for my kids that are being raised in this environment. But I want to encourage you to understand the wonderful quality of education, the understanding of right and wrong, and the ability to implement right and wrong standards with forgiveness as part of the conversation. They provide excellent education in a faith-based environment with real-world applications. They have IEP accommodations and resources. They involve STEM education. They have extracurriculars and sports. When you hear me talking about coaching all these sports, Lutheran schools got a volleyball game tonight, first one of the season. Incredibly excited about it. There are 37 elementary schools, Lutheran schools in the St. Louis metro area. There's one near you, and you need to check it out. It is affordable. It is within reach. Think about this as an alternative for your child and watch them flourish in this environment. Grandparents, parents, think about this for your loved one. You'll be very glad you did. You can find them online at lesastl.org/Annie.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get this all behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm. The IRS made new changes that make it easier to settle your IRS debt for a reduced amount. Not all our clients qualify, but under the IRS's new Fresh Start program, you may be able to resolve your IRS problems quickly and for less money. But don't wait. An IRS problem is a legal problem. You need someone who understands both the IRS and the law. Don't trust your tax problems to some TV personality. The Drury Law Firm has handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years, and your first visit is completely free and confidential. And I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So if you're facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120, or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
When we come back from this short little commercial break, Annie's going to talk about why she either smells or doesn't smell. I don't know. She said that she wanted to talk about deodorant, so I assume that's the topic. The YouTube live chat poll, why are you watching the DNC?
That's the real question.
That's the question. Are you watching the DNC is the real question. Yes or no, but I'm interested in the highlights. No, I'm not interested. Those are your three options. Why are you watching the DNC? 250. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting set to go here after Fox News at 3 o'clock and a lot of lies last night by Joe Biden. But who saw it? Because he went on after 11 o'clock in the Midwest. We got Josh Hammer kicking things off at 3:25. Sue's News in the 4 o'clock hour. Senator Schmidt in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to get rolling in just a few minutes.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show.
Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away.
What was that tease that you just gave the people?
It was about you stanking.
I don't stink. I smell wonderful.
Is it because of your deodorant?
Do I smell bad?
I have a terrible sense of smell. I'm the wrong person to ask. I've
Brad
had 2
just-
sinus surgeries.
Brad just left the
Brad just
room.
left, so we know his answer.
I can't even ask him. He's avoiding the question
Mhm.
so that he doesn't have to answer. I understand.
Let's bring Abby in here. Let's ask a couple other people
Just let
around
some
the
people
office.
come smell me.
Because here's the thing, I got to work with you really
Whoa,
closely every day.
whoa. What were we talking about? Because I was dealing with some technical stuff.
How bad she smells.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or how bad she doesn't.
Do I smell bad?
No, you don't smell bad. Did Ryan say you smell bad?
Yeah, he just did.
We have to work with Annie every day.
Ryan.
We need an anonymous person to let us really know.
You know, that's all you're doing is saying I smell bad.
No. I just want to know because, like I said, I can't tell.
If you can't tell if I smell bad, then I don't smell bad.
No, you could reek, but I can't smell very well. And that's on me.
So you smell bad.
I have a bad sense of smell.
You have a bad sense of something.
Yeah, I smell bad.
This all started because I have a brand new stick of deodorant here. It is Dove, and it's not a different kind of deodorant. I am not paid to talk to you about Dove deodorant, but I don't know what to do. It's brand new, and I go to spin it up. It doesn't go up. What do I do? It's useless.
Yep, it's just that age. Can't get up.
Well,
Sorry. Go on.
couldn't you wait 5 minutes?
I know.
Couldn't you just
No,
hold on to
it's
that one
just,
for
It's just
5
like
minutes?
politics. When you get the opportunity, you got to strike. When the president looks like he's
What are
incapacitated
you, a Cobra?
mentally, you got to just go in. I didn't get any votes. I got to go in.
What do I do with my deodorant?
I
It's
don't.
impotent.
I don't think you do anything. I think you just got to let it be. Take it out to the farm, put a bullet in it. I think you wasted $6 though.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Can I take this back to? I don't even know where I got it from. We basically buy. I have 4 kids in my house. We're playing sports every day in various locations. I put deodorant in every car location. Work. You go into my desk in there. I've got deodorant in my desk. We're not going to be stinky. But I feel like this probably did cost $5-6, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it did.
So can I go back to Walmart or wherever and be like, this doesn't work? And I can only imagine what that woman or man behind the desk is going to look at me like, seems like you've got a problem.
Yes, but the problem is not what happens once you get to Walmart and you talk to the clerk. It's that you have to take time out of your day
Yes.
to go back to Walmart.
To save $6?
To save $6 on something that you just bought because you just need it to go, get it done. You got to get it done, and now it doesn't work. That stuff drives me nuts.
Are there other ways like to infiltrate this thing? Because you can't get to it like when you spin the bottom. I can't. This is all one piece, so it's not like I can.
Well, let me Google Universal Dove cartridge.
How about Unilever? Because that's what the brand is.
Unilever.
Dove Advanced Care Lavender Fresh smells delicious, wonderful, fresh. Can't use it. Are you when something like this happens to you, the value of the thing is under $10. Are you?
I will, like on that, I probably would have taken the spinny part off and seen if I could push it up. And at that point, if I can't, then I just throw it away and get a new one.
Doesn't it make you grouchy though for a while?
Oh yeah, it makes me not happy for quite a while. How many milliliters is that?
It is. It's not. It's 2.6 ounces, 74 grams.
2.6 ounces.
Antiperspirant deodorant.
So they do make empty cartridges for
so
deodorant.
I could transplant.
So and look at this, 78 cents. I'm seeing one here. So you could salvage this thing.
I could.
It's a little work.
I just want to go into somebody who's going to go, oh, yeah, I'll go get one off the shelf. We'll swap that out for you. Because that could totally happen also.
You know what you really want is you want somebody to go, I am so sorry that this has happened to you.
I want compassion.
Heck yeah, you do.
I am certain you will get that at a Walmart, a CVS.
You know what I should
maybe
do?
Not compassion.
I should go, but I shouldn't shower for 2 weeks before I go. And then I just hand it to him.
Yeah. Or just
Can you help me, sir?
Just take a vinegar bath and then go in there and be like, look, I need some help. And they'll just do whatever you want.
Speaking of taking a vinegar bath, are you watching the DNC Convention, the Anti-Fry YouTube live chat poll for today with over 300 votes? 18% of you wonderful people said, yes, I am watching it. 39% say no, but you are interested in the highlights, and 43% of you say no, you're not interested. So over 50% are some level of interested.
It's a nice split.
We will walk you through. We will do that for you. And I will go get more deodorant so I am not without.
That's just for us.
I make that promise. I don't smell bad anyway.
Well, you might.
I
soon.
don't, though. I don't. Mark Reardon, up next.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-580-7766. 800-580-7766. That's 800-580-7766.
AirComfortService.com, the go-to people for making sure your comfort zone is always within reach for your heating needs, for your cooling needs. They've got you covered. Also, insulation and an AeroSeal duct sealing, which is where they come into your home and they make sure that all of the air that you're moving through your ventilation is getting where it's supposed to go, where the air is exiting the vents and not the gaps in the seals within that ventilation throughout your home. They also work with commercial businesses. So if you are somebody who's making the HVAC decisions, or you've been told that something's up with the AC unit and it needs to be looked at, they can absolutely come out and give you a free second free estimate on what your situation is to make sure that you are in your comfort zone and that you're being dealt with in a fair and respectable way. You can trust Air Comfort Service, residentially, commercially. They will be there to put you back in your comfort zone in no time. You can learn all about them, what they can do for you at aircomfortservice.com.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense